average. Chooks. Tinubu to Fubara implements Supreme Court judgment. Details can be found on page 15. And the African sayings, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. Chooks.
That bit you read there, are you trying to frighten me? Are you saying that I'm already 12 years into extra time or what?
Yeah. No, you're on extra time. You don't.
I'm going to 68.
You are on extra time.
Demola, please. I have not done many things in life.
I think extra time at 68. At 68, as a Christian, at 68, you have two more years to hit the promised age. So it's not extra time.
You are making it worse.
No. What is the promised age? 70. Who told you that?
Please, can we leave this topic?
What is written in the Bible is 120, not 70.
Oh, 120
is 120.
So you see, you have a long way.
Force.
You have a long way.
It's 120, not 70.
It's a tepid and morbid argument.
He doesn't want to die. You see, a lot of people, they want to go to heaven, but they don't want to die. He's one of them.
Stand right.
All right.
One can only applaud such a move. You know, they've always been talking about it. Without cooperation, insurgency, banditry in the sub-region is going to be an intractable problem. But the snag remains the fact that there are renegades. Mali, Burkina Faso, you know. If we don't bring them in from the code, because they really are in the code, and they think they're doing well, they need us to thrive. If we don't bring them in from the code and we all converge on a common problem, it is still going to create loopholes. But the fact that the force has finally been activated is quite commendable. Well, I hope that Mali and the rest of them don't become a counter force to the force itself.
You know, the issue of trans-border crimes, it's quite disturbing.
Very, very.
Very, very disturbing, because if you look at the magnitude or the volume or the length of borders that are porous.
Please, thank you. You must put the adjective porous before
yes,
borders,
porous.
but you have
porous borders.
You have postposed it,
yes,
so it's you're still in order.
You discover that these are areas where not just human trafficking coming through.
Yes.
There are areas from where guns, proliferation,
small arms
and weapons coming, and you talk about not just the borders within the Ecowas sub-region, also other aspects. I mean, if you go through Cameroon, Taraba down to Cameroon,
access,
Chad,
yes,
Sokoto, and then you come to the western side. You talk, So these are all areas through which these arms are brought in, and we hear that these arms are sold cheaply.
It's
in neighboring countries. So
exactly.
It's high time that the ECOWAS, mediation and security, whatever, did something more more powerful, more stronger, to protect the borders. And because a lot of people are saying, look, let us review even the ECOWAS protocol. Yes, on free movement, because I mean it's even making it more difficult for countries.
But how do you review such protocol on free movement? Just like you said, that the borders are very porous.
Yes.
So
you put a caveat on that freedom of movement. You see, an organism must preserve itself. It's a biological fact. If abuse begins to attend the ECOWAS protocol, work on it. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Look at what is happening now in the U.S.
Two things, Chooks. One, those who advocate review of that protocol say, one, when that protocol was initiated, the reality now, the current reality now, does not address, or it's not consistent with the time.
Exactly, some evolution of issues has happened.
Yes, so you must take that into consideration. Then, secondly, almost everybody is now carrying the ECOWAS passport, so you don't even know who is an irregular, migrant, and you don't know who is a genuine business person.
A review is necessary. Some sifting has to happen.
Yes, there's something, and we must also strengthen our own residency, regulations for members of our country.
Chooks, meningitis kills 26 in Kebbi and 1 in Sokoto.
Spinal meningitis has always been, in my days of news reading, anytime I got that script, I cringed. Because each time they told me that it was heat-related, and I was reading during the dry season, I would feel that I was also susceptible, exposed to having, this kind of attack. And I hear that it is a terrible experience.
It is.
A terrible experience to get knocked out sometimes you're in coma.
Yeah.
Demola just frightened me this morning when he narrated
it's an experience.
And that's why there's need for more.
The most common signs actually for the symptoms just fever, headache,
what I'm looking for.
nausea, and vomiting. When I had it, it was like I had a fever, so I took anti-malaria. I was in secondary school, Form 3.
Oh dear!
I'm telling you, and that was it. I took anti-malaria drug, and that was it. I just went to one of my teacher's house just to go and rest. And 2 weeks after that, I woke up. I was in coma.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
You knew nothing?
I didn't know anything. I was rushed from my school, Mayflower School, to Shagamu General Hospital. Then when my parents came, they transferred me to Luth.
You're very fortunate. Please, just before we go to Kodi, here, this is what the leadership is saying. It says, please, according to the Commissioner for Health, or Commissioner for Health in Kebbi, it says, report immediately to the nearest health facility. If you are sick, avoid sleeping in overcrowded rooms, maintain proper personal hygiene, and ensure the cleanliness of your environment. Again, these are precautionary measures.
Yes, I was going to ask, how do we preempt?
Yes, so please avoid overcrowded rooms, maintain proper personal hygiene.
Take a lot of water as well.
Take a lot of water, fruits.
Prompt attention must be very, very necessary. And it's going to be expert attention, not just
not just this anti-malaria thing.
Exactly.
But you wouldn't know.
Yeah, because it comes disguised. Yeah. Usually you see a cocktail of the normal ailments and all that.
Well, anyway, Chooks, that cocktail.
He's reliving those 2 weeks. Thank God you're still around, my dear.
We have to go now.
It's okay.
We have to go now. So thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we return, Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during interment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet comes with the nutrients they need every day. Made from natural grains, contains protein and fortified with iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Give more strength to your hair with Mega Growth Leave-In Strengthener. It's infused with wonder oils and conditioning proteins, so you can say goodbye to hair breakage. Wow! Mega Growth Leave-In Strengthener.
We're live in the open market for Epic 10X Challenge. My people, today I will show you how the power of new Epic 10X gives your toilet a better cleaning than bleach.
Than bleach?
Yes, sir. Impossible. Toilets have stains which bleach cannot clean effectively. But Epic is thicker and sticks better, which gives 10X better cleaning versus bleach and kills germs. Oh, wow. Can I see that Epic is better than bleach?
The Nigeria coat of arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
Savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, we turn back into life, we make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we have more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Nigeria is perched on a treasure trove of solid minerals. Gold, coal, tantalum, tin, but none is more critical to our future or the world's future like lithium. Let's talk about illegal mining operations. What is our strategy?
Thanks for staying with us. You are still watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Just before we bring in our guest for our conversation, Improving Power Supply, let's take this background report by Ibrahim Bello Gunda.
Power generation, transmission, and distribution are the 3 processes of delivering electricity to consumers in residential, industrial, and commercial areas in Nigeria. However, mismanagement of funds in the power sector, vandalism of gas pipelines, kidnapping of professionals that man gas facilities, inability to partner with multinational oil companies to fully utilize gas, poorly planned maintenance culture, and energy theft affect electricity generation, transmission, and distribution in Nigeria. Others are constant collapse of national grid, vandalism act on electricity installations, and indebtedness on the part of consumers are some of the factors affecting improved electricity supply. 12 years after privatization of the Nigerian electricity supply industry and the coming to effect of Electricity Act 2023, electricity generation and distribution continue to face challenges, with electricity consumers still grappling with epileptic supply, thereby affecting businesses and livelihood. The grouping of electricity consumers into bands has questions on what happens to those in bands that don't get specific hours required for them to belong to the band, among other concerns. There is a growing emphasis on renewable energy sources as Nigeria's energy landscape diversifies to include hydro, solar, and other sustainable options. Both public and private sectors, including state governments, are increasingly investing in these alternative options for a more balanced energy option to advancing energy reliability, What is the way forward to improving power supply to Nigerians? Did the privatization option help in improving access to constant supply of power? What are the options available for Nigeria to improve its energy sources? These and more will form part of questions guests on Good Morning Nigeria will find answers to.
All right, many thanks to Ibrahim Belagunda for the background report. We have seated already here in the studio Bode Fadikme, and he's the CEO, Sage Consulting and Communication. And Sage is basically involved in power sector and policy analysis and advocacy, and we're glad to have you in our studio with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
And also from our Kaduna studio, we are happy to be joined by Idris Mohammed, and his former MD, CEO, Kaduna Electric and Power Infrastructure Expert. Thank you very much, Mullah Mohammed.
NTA, good morning, Nigeria.
All right, joining us via Zoom from the United Kingdom is engineer Mustafa Yunusa Mehaja. He's the former DG, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and expert in power system planning and development. Engineer Mehaja, welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, I'd like to start with Malam Idris Mohammed, who is the former MDCU Kaduna Electric and Power Infrastructure Expert. Just what is the problem with our power, supply in this country? I mean, we've had courts to discuss this issue time and time, over and over again, and we're still, I don't know if I should say we're still where we are. Can you just give us a brief insight into what really are the current realities in the power sector?
Thank you for having me once again. I would say that the issues that is affecting the power sector is majorly that of not adhering to the professional advices that are given by consultants, professionals who are desirous of making sure that the government has tried to improve the quality of power supply in the country. But then what is happening? The medium through which that objective is to be achieved needs to be improved upon. There is the major issue of lack of adherence to planning. Do we really have at the moment what you call a long-term plan, a medium-term plan, and then a short-term plan that is engendered to make sure that everything that is required to make sure that stable and reliable electricity power supply is achieved, is not being put in focus. And I think the major issue is that there are quite a lot of documents that are intended to achieve those targets. But then are the people charged with the responsibility of ensuring those plans materialize, are achieved? I'm not sure that is happening. But it's never too late for that to be put in perspective. I know NTA has tried severally. We have had different discourse regarding ways and means to achieve stable power supply in Nigeria. But what really is happening? Is there the will? Once there is the will, there is the way. And I think the people who are charged with that responsibility of ensuring that we have steady power supply in Nigeria must be up to it. Look at the issue of the current installed capacity of 14,000 megawatts that we have had in the last how many years? 5 years or more? And then there is no leap from what the 14,000 megawatts installed capacity is meant to achieve. I think if we imbibe the culture of planning and ensuring that planning is a very important aspect of strategic plan, then we will have a sigh of relief. Look at the Renewable Energy Master Plan that was conceived many years ago. I do know that there are plans for the government to imbibe the culture of relying on renewable energy, wind, solar, hydro, and then there are plans that at the corridor of power that just need to be implemented. Why are those plans not being implemented? There are regional plans in the country, in the ministry, that is expected to generate, for instance, in the 6 geographical locations, they are supposed to generate a minimum of 10,000 megawatts of power. And that has been improved by previous or the last administration. That added to the solar power, there is also going to be, to support the effective takeoff of the solar power, there's going to be the wind and the solar. So if you combine the two, and you have a minimum of 10 megawatts each, that will be 20 megawatts that will come from the 6th geopolitical zone. There is supposed to be a pilot project. That pilot project is in Katsina State. And the project had already attained a level of 80% or more. A little is left to achieve that project of the Katsina Wind Project. And then added to it, also to make it more effective and dynamic, is a 10 megawatt solar that will support the current wind plant in Katsina State. That power generates direct into the national grid. Why are we not tapping that potential? I know that Kano Electricity Distribution Company is interested in the offtake of that 20 megawatts of power. That 20 megawatts of power can transform Katsina State, or let's say Katsina Metropolis. So why can't we do the right thing? If we say the project in Katsina is pilot, and then you migrate this pilot project to other 5 geopolitical zones, it means that you have a total of 6. Now, that is just one aspect of the scenario. There is also the capacity to generate power from coal. There is also the capacity to generate power from hydro. There are also the support by Rural Electrification Agency to add value to the system. So if you just plan and try to achieve all those options, I think we will have a stable power supply regime in Nigeria. We just need to do what is right so that we can save ourselves this embarrassment of grid collapse. There is no more grid collapse. It is now grid disturbance or grid instability. And then for the generation companies, installed capacities, you have stranded power. That stranded power is about 6,000 megawatts. To realize that 6,000 megawatts of power means that you are achieving or attaining the low-hanging fruit that can take place within 6 months. That can take place within 6 months. And for solar energy, for wind plant, that is a project that takes a minimum of 6 months. So you are saying that with a good objective plan, if you start from today, Wednesday, March, you are going to attain, before the end of the year, a reasonable quantum of energy from renewable energy. And I think that is the way to go. We have been having so many challenges that is coming from the gas supply, and then vandalism of the sector, and then also there is the vandalism of the transmission sector. That vandalism can be checked because we know that if you introduce the right technology to check those vendors through installation of CCTV on top of transmission towers, I think that will be the end of the game for the vandals. But why can't we do that? Why do we have, for instance, if a tower is vandalized, then you will replace the tower for an outrageous cost, when that replacement cost of a new tower is probably a quarter of the price of that replacement. Are we really serious in this country? Can't we help Nigeria to grow? Can't we help the masses of Nigeria to be masses of Nigeria? I think it's obvious that that plan and the will is not there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Idris Mohammed, for your opening remarks there. We're really serious, really a big question. He has actually highlighted a lot of issues here as some of the root causes of the power, supply challenges that we have in the country. One major one is that there is no proper planning, and that where there is planning, there is no implementation of the plan as well. Let's get your perspective, your opening. What do you think? I mean, besides all that he has said, what do you think are the root causes of these power shortages that we are having in this country?
Not just that, thank you so much, not just that there is lack of proper planning. Even the little improper planning that we do is inconsistent. But alongside that is even the disturbing phenomenon of policy inconsistency, corruption. Those two have been very, very prevalent in the system. For instance, we know that currently 2 former ministers of power are going through court trials for what they did with money that was voted for the power sector. At least, I mean, it's a known issue for allegation of corruption of what they spent money for. Apart from that, the issue of policy inconsistency has been a major bane of this sector. Not just that alone, we don't have respect for contractual agreements. Apart from that, you find situation where there is so much indebtedness, government delinquency. I mean, I don't know whether we recall what happened in Lagos recently, where Ikeja Electric was attacked by service people. As much as we frown at that conduct of going to attack people who were doing their legitimate business, the fact remains that government was delinquent in not paying, because one of the reasons that gave rise to that attack was the fact that that government agency was owing up to about 3 billion. I hope I have that fact very clear. And they were paying about 60 million monthly. So if you are owing 3 billion, 4 billion, and you are paying 60 million monthly, when are you going to finish when are you going to finish paying? How many 60 million do you have in 1 billion? So, but these people are providing a service for the nation. They are not a revenue generating agency. They are a cost center. It is government's responsibility to make sure that they pay their debt, because the energy has been consumed. So there is a responsibility on the part of government that owns them and for whom they provide a certain critical service to make sure that the items for which they reacted to provide protection is not exposed. I mean, the public is not exposed to the danger of such a thing. I mean, look at what happened. I can't remember the year now when there was this explosion at the Keja cantonment. Somebody was telling me that as far as Satellite Town, look at the distance between the Keja and Satellite Town in Lagos. The sound that was produced was like the bomb was exploding behind their houses.
Same thing on the island.
So they have a responsibility to make sure that those explosives are kept at certain temperature and pressure. And then the disco has a responsibility to recover its money, are you going to blame the disco for withdrawing service? So we have seen policy inconsistency, we have seen political interest, we have seen selfish interest. Lack of national interest is one of the issues that is driving the power sector in the wrong direction. It's driving the power sector southwards. And as a result of that, unless we have a change of attitude, okay, take for instance, the Honorable Minister of Power launched 2 documents about a week or 2 weeks ago. Those documents, I mean, the review of those documents, they have taken 24 years because the first one was done in 2001. And it's only after 24 years. For a sector like the power sector, you cannot be insensitive to exponential developments. It is within this same this same period that we have had explosion in the production of handsets. It is within this same period that we have had sporadic or exponential growth in population. And electricity is equal to life. I don't know how many of us, I know so many of us can relate. As you are going home and you get to your environment, most of us have what we used to monitor, whether there is light at home now. So when you get to the monitor point that you see supply, and maybe you are sad before you got there, you feel a sense of relief. But the moment you get to that monitoring point and there is no, so, oh my God, that despondency is there. So that tells you how critical electricity is to us. So we have the issue of lack of proper planning. Take SCADA, for instance. SCADA, that is supposed to be a critical equipment in transmission, has been in production line for over 40 years. So if you are going to take 20 years to prepare for madness, how long are you going to get mad? I'm sorry for the use of that word on air. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's taking too long for us to get out of this mess that we have found ourselves in this country. Policy inconsistency. Government has to be ready to take up that responsibility to say, we want to do this. Look at the Electricity Act 2023 that was signed by President Bola Tinubu. This is something that the likes of our forefathers, Awolowo, had advocated in the 50s, that regions should be allowed to generate their own electricity. We are just realizing the importance of such policy direction. At this time of our growth as a nation, with all of the resources that we have had, look at what happened to the 19 northern states. Was it at the beginning of the year or was it last year, when the whole of that economy was cut off from the national grid for 2 weeks? It was last year. Look at the damage to socioeconomic activities. Look at all the things that would have happened. Look at the criminal activities that would have taken place. Why is it that it is on, of all the lines, most of them became redundant, and it was only one that was functional. And it was when that one was put under pressure that we now started running around, and we spent, only God knows how many billions we spent to recover that line.
Mr. Fadikwe, let's
I know Mr. Fadikwe is actually very passionate about this issue. But let's just bring in our second guest at the Kaduna studio, Idris Mohammed, Managing Partner, Fumrak Energy Consultant. Idris, you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
For having me here.
Okay, all right. Maybe Claire, you have a question for?
No, let's allow Mr. Idris to settle down. We'll come back to you in a moment. But let's get to United Kingdom via Zoom and bring in Engineer Mustafa Yunus Samiaja, who, of course, is an expert in power system planning and development. Again, Fadikwe and Malam Mohammed have talked about the issue of planning. Indeed, Mr. Fadigbe, went on to talk about policy inconsistency, government inability to stick to the contractual agreement and all that. And in 2013, that was when, of course, the power sector was unbundled, and we had more than 11 discos and about 6 gencos. But since then, we really have not had improved power supply, despite that unbundling. But the gencos have consistently talked about, one, the regime, tariff regime, which it's not, allowing them the flexibility, to recoup and all that. They've also talked about the quality of the infrastructure for distribution and all that. I don't think if these are very fundamental issues that are affecting, the stability of our power supply. Engineer Meyaja.
Thank you for having me once again. Yes, I will start with the last statement. The issue of what the gencos are raising are not really fundamental. The problem of power sector in Nigeria, I must confess to you, is a complex one. Let's look at it from a historical perspective. One, I was born in Unguru town, Yobe State, then Borno, then Northeast. April 1963. I started to understand my environment 5 years or 4 years later. Believe me, up to 1980-81, I have never witnessed a single time when light goes off. Not a second. So that is to tell you that time things were doing well. Subsequently, in the 80s, we started to have problems in the power sectors, and up to today, all efforts by government, so-called effort by government to get things turned around, could not. I could recall 1999 to 2000, when the Obasanjo's regime came in, they gave themselves 6 months. They said December 1999, they should have stable electricity. They couldn't. Not up to 2003, up to 2007. Up to today, no stability there is no power stability in the country. So basically, like I said, it's a complex one. The issue of no planning is not the issue. I could recall 1975, there was a very big consultancy work that federal government engaged Motor Columbus, who are a Swiss company that produced Nigerian electricity master plan, a very, very good document for planning. I was privileged to have one, about 6 or 7 volumes of about 55 centimeter a volume each. It was a very complex look on corners of Nigeria, how it should be supplied, how the generation could be, how the transmission could be. Everything was spelled out, but it didn't work. Thereafter, through the political regimes, policies upon policies, programs upon programs, it never works. The unbundling issue, it never works. So the problems can be summarized to both political, economic, social, and technical problems. Political problems, as my friend, colleague has said, unprecedented change of government affects it. For example, we are privileged to be one of the contractors with a company I was chairman in one of the CBN-funded projects. Immediately there was change in government from, last year, there was change in CBN governor, then the project almost got stalled. It has to be reviewed because of the dollar issue from 2.5 billion to about 4.5 billion, so at the end, even as that, the dollar issue still prevails, the project almost gets stalled. This is what I mean by the change in government. It happens more during military regime where 6 months or thereabout, government will be toppled, the policies will be disregarded, so that comes around policy inconsistency, policy strangulation of the system where laws are enacted, laws are promulgated that make the system more complex. Like there was a law, such electricity law that has just been passed and it's come into force recently, created so many companies, so making it more complicated to manage. The human resources was not planned for that. Enough. There are a lot of engineers, but they are not properly trained. They don't know what to do. You put them there. When there is trip in 330 kV, there will be people will be running hectare and sector to get it because they are not properly informed, or those that were informed when the new companies were created, like the DISCOs, the GENCOs, they sack all the experienced staffs. So it makes the whole thing so complex, so difficult to manage. So that is the issue of the aspect of political problems. The other is the economic problem. There is huge requirement of funds to revitalize the power sector, and the funds are not there. The issue of the new policy on this, the dollar exchange issue makes everything very expensive. For example, substation 330/132 kV substation, 80 to 85% of the content is offshore. It's either in dollar or euro or anything. But and the income in the government post is not there. It's very little, so much such that it cannot fund the project. Nigeria, to get credit is another problem. When you get problem, it confounds the issue. That is the issue of forex is a very big problem. Transmission line, for example, 70 to 75% of it are offshore. So where do you get the dollar to buy these things and construct the lines, the requirement you need? Presently, we are talking of 4,000 megawatt, where our requirement, I can assure you, is not less than 20,000 megawatts, and we're still around 4. Where do you get the remaining balance? Where do you have the money? You see, you don't have the money. So now comes the issue of social problems. You cannot separate social and political problems. When a member of National Assembly wants power supply to be taken, he need only a 3 kV line. He will go because he's the chairman of maybe TCM or power sector or somewhere. He now wants 132 kV into his domain, in his village, and then before you know what you call misplacement of priority. The EU, as government workers or the professionals, you are not allowed to take decisions. Political interest comes in. I mean, you can see the problems are so complex. Coming to technical, I told you that when the new companies, the DISCOs and GENCOs were created, they sacked most of the technical. They said they are corrupt, they are this, and the people there today, I can assure you, are more even corrupt than those ones that were sacked, because every one of you here knows that if you have issue in your house, to get somebody, AEDC or a kind of distribution or wherever to come and get it done, it's quite a hell of a problem. For you to get them, I don't know, it's not easy. You can stay there for 24 hours, nobody comes. But they said when we privatize it, people will be more forthcoming, but where is it? It's not forthcoming. So social problems that I've mentioned comes into play because Nigerians are not really committed to doing these things, are not really committed to do the business. They are more committed to do business as usual. Corruption is key to the problem of power, not only power. If you all across the social life of Nigerians, corruption has really got it devastated to the extent that, okay, now take the case of Abuja, you are talking about power. So do you have water? We don't have even water. Do you have electricity? You don't have electricity. Health sector. So what is really the problem? The main problem, believe me, you and every Nigerian knows, is we are not sincere to ourselves. We are corrupt. We just want to make money anyhow, running, looking for money, hectare looking for money, going up and down no matter what. That, in fact, all these security issues is issue of money. Everybody is just mad about money, not thinking about his social responsibility to do what he's supposed to do to his community, to do what's supposed to do to the people. People are self-centered. These are the problems of power sector. This is a problem of health sector. This is a problem of water supply. This is a problem of educational sector. So why are we beating about the bush? Let's call a spade a spade. Nigerians should look up to themselves. People should try to be good, at least within your own immediate environment. If you are a public servant or you are in a business, do the right thing, handle the issue professionally, get people trained, get people knowledgeable. If you do anything from an informed position, you do it better. These are some of the problems I quickly try to highlight. I am really part of the system. I know what we go through to get things done. It's unfortunate, honestly, the power sector to be stable. Once we don't change this aspect of doing business, we just forget it. I really sympathize.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Mehaja, for your opening shots there. You have actually traced the genesis of the problem that we have in the power sector, going down to starting from 1980, the issue of political, social, and economic problem, and most especially, most importantly rather, the issue of sincerity, that is lack of sincerity on the part of the people in charge of it. Well, let's go to our other guest at the Kaduna studio, Idris Mohammed. Both of them are Idris Mohammed, Claire. So, but let's now go to Managing Partner, Fumrak Energy Consultant now. I believe you are settled now, and you have been listening to the conversation so far. We're trying to trace the problem, the challenges in the power sector, and a lot of issues have been highlighted. I don't know if you still have more, but I want you to talk more on the issue of investment, which they have all also mentioned, that a lack of adequate investment, that is needed to upgrade the system and expand the Nigeria power infrastructure. So what is your view in this regard?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here and meeting my boss, my mentor, and my namesake. When we were working, people often find it difficult to differentiate which of the Idrises you want to refer to. Thank you. Yes, coming to your question, actually without disapproving what my colleagues have earlier said on this issue, I will not want to dwell into history much. Rather, I will not ask questions, rather I will go searching for answers. As it is today, I think the problem of the power sector in Nigeria can be categorized into 4 broad categories. We have, of course, the technical aspect, we have the commercial aspect, we have the managerial aspect, and of course, the attitudinal aspect as enumerated by my colleagues. So, coming to the issue of investment, actually, if you look at it as it is today, we as Nigerians, honestly, we should be ashamed of ourselves that today we are talking of 4,000 megawatts being generated into the grid. It is, to say the least, pathetic, honestly speaking. And that, the reason is not far from your questions. That is lack of adequate investment in infrastructure at all levels of the value chain, starting from generation to transmission and the distribution layer. The level of investment is far inadequate. And the reason is simple, because even the little 4,000 megawatt we are generating at the moment, the industry cannot even sustain the little 4,000 megawatt, because if you break the megawatt into the retail level, the unit, when you talk of 4,000 megawatt, you are talking of
Oh dear. We do apologize. We hope that the connection will come back, and then we'll return to you to complete your thought. But let's come back to the studio now. Mr. Fadipe, he started talking about the issues within all the value chain, both from generation, transmission, distribution. But Mr. Idris talked about corruption, and I think we should put the issue of corruption in the power sector within context. Because what Nigerians want to see is that they have constant supply of light. And I tell you that the average Nigerian is ready to pay for what he consumes, as long as he gets it. I mean, all my colleagues here, are willing to pay as long as they have constant supply of electricity. But in the case where, yes, but in the case where, sorry?
As long as it's not outrageous.
No, well, I'm coming. In the case where you are given, you don't have prepaid meter, and you rely on, estimated billing. And then at the end of the month, you get maybe about 6 hours or less of power, and at the end of the month, you get the same estimated bill or even higher. That's corruption in itself. And the GENCOs are telling you, the DISCOs are saying that the tariff regime is not cost reflective. So we cannot recoup the cost of what we put in to be able to meet the needs of this category of people. So why are we still implementing this non-transparent tariff regime?
Okay, you've put a lot of things together. Let's see how we can unpack estimated billing, corruption, inadequacy of the tariff,
prepaid meters,
and then prepaid meter. Yes. 4 critical issues that have plagued the power sector for a long time. When I mentioned the issue of policy inconsistency, one of the things I had in mind was this issue of metering. And those who follow the power sector will tell you that by 2013, when the privatization took off, we had this metering policy called CAPME, Credit Advance Payment Metering Implementation. Now, that policy was a beautiful policy because it allowed customers to make an advance payment, and the system or the sector saw it as a loan for which the customer got some bit of interest. I think about 12% interest at that time, as at 2013, 2014. And so the customer gave the loan, and then the customer got repaid by way of credit over a period of time. then that policy was phased out, I think, during the Fashola period, and then we came up with, what's the other one now? MAP, yes. MAP, for me, based on my own experience in the power sector, was one of the most beautiful policy instruments for metering of customers. I can't understand why that policy had to be shut down, reviewed, and then brought back again. I can't understand. So metering is a fundamental issue. It creates transparency. You are able to know what you are paying for and things like that. But you see, the issue of estimated billing is also a fundamental issue. Why is it fundamental? Once electricity is consumed, somebody has to pay for it. But where customers, and I join them in making that advocacy, where the problem is that, look, for God's sake,
I'm not getting the services.
That's one. And two, let it even be commensurate. And that was why NEC came up with the policy of capping of the estimated billing. That, okay, if you live in Papi, for instance, or you live in Yanya, or you live in Asokoro, or you live in Maitama, I mean, you are using Abuja geography. So let's say outside Abuja, you are living in the GRA or some high area. Exactly. There is a minimum threshold of consumption that can be used to aggregate the calculation for those for those within that network. But that is not. That is not to say that estimated billing is the proper thing. It's not an exact science. It is still some kind of, I think this is what XYZ will consume in this locality. Because, for instance, somebody in Papi maybe living in a duplex, having about all the rooms, maybe 5-bedroom duplex, everywhere air conditioned and things like that. Meanwhile, somebody in Maitama BQ is not even having an air conditioner, but his own estimated billing is not the same as the person in in a Papi, for instance. So that makes it a little bit difficult, and so it's not an exact science.
You can work with it.
Well,
depending when you prepaid meters are available. See,
the truth of the matter is that every customer is entitled, at the risk of calling it a fundamental right, every customer is entitled to a meter.
Yes,
every customer, because it is not only for the purpose of energy accountability. There's also transparency, and I need to be able to budget for my consumption monthly. And then the issue of trust, for God's sake. So it creates it's still a mystery that in spite of all the policy instruments that have been developed to bring about the solving of the metering problem, we are still where we are today. I think the NEC figure is that about 45% of customer population are unmetered. 45%. That's scandalous. We're not saying 5%, we're not saying 10%, we're saying 45%. I hope my figure is right. That's huge.
What could be the challenge? Why is that so? Is
part of the challenge
are not available?
The gentleman in Kaduna, the meters are not available. Most of the things we use in the power sector are sourced offshore. Dollar. I mean, when Miaja was speaking, dollar component drives a substantial part of the power sector. Even the acquisition loan for the sector was dollar denominated, and that in itself is a major issue till today. Since 2013, the dollar, the acquisition fund for the assets is a major issue because it was denominated in dollar, and dollar has continued to be on the escape route. As you pursue it, it's running away. So
it's a bit stabilized now.
Well, I hope so. The amount they got the asset at less than $300 less than 300 naira to $1. See where it is today. And some of these loans are still outstanding. Where are they going to get the money to?
But isn't government subsidizing part of what the consumers?
Government says I can no longer subsidize.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So, there are so many issues that are
too many issues, Mr. Fadigbe. All right, thank you. Let's go back to our Kaduna studio where we had Idris Mohammed, who was cut off as a result of power supply that we were talking about. He was cut off as a result of power supply. Now that the power has been restored, let's get the remaining of your thoughts there before we...
They're lucky that the power came back.
Maybe it's Jen. Maybe it's Jen.
Okay.
Yes, they had to turn on the Jen.
Or solar.
So let's get your feedback. Just complete your thought before we go to your namesake there, because I have a question for him as well.
As I was saying, honestly speaking, it's very sad to admit, as a nation of over 200 million population, we are talking of 4,000 or a little above or a little below 4,000 for quite a number of years now. And the reason is simple. Actually, the capacity as it is today, the generation capacity as it is today, can give us close to 8 to 10,000 megawatt. But unfortunately, most of these generation companies are operating below installed capacity. Why? Because even the little that is being generated, the market cannot foot the bill. In other words, if 4,000 megawatt is being wheeled into the grid, and the Naira equivalent of that 4,000 megawatt is probably 300 million Naira per hour, and at the end of the day you are having something far below that, where is the incentive for these existing generation companies to expand their capacity or even attract new investors? I must say, with due respect, we can see that even our super rich in this country are running away from the power sector. And the question is simple, because they prefer to go to oil and gas, banking industry, telecommunication, because there is return on investment in that aspect. So we need to, as a country, first admit and agree that, look, we want to improve this situation from where it is today. And the only way we will do that is to ensure that at least the little we are getting, everybody pays for the little that he's getting. If, for example, 4,000 megawatt is being generated, and we are able to foot pay the market value of that 4,000 megawatt, that will serve as an incentive for others to say, okay, look, I can invest in this sector, and I hope I will recover my investment, and of course maybe get something on it as a return on investment. Then if you look at the transmission level as well, today, even if you can generate 10,000 megawatt, I don't think the TCN have the capacity to wheel that 10,000 megawatt to the various load centers. So that equally calls for more investment in the transmission infrastructure to be able to, because it doesn't make any sense if generation companies today will generate, let's say, will operate at full capacity, but the energy generated cannot be transmitted to the various load centers. It becomes a waste to them. So likewise, if you go to the distribution level as well, you discover that even the little 4,000 megawatt that is being generated, we will hear every now and then that some distribution companies are suppressing load, they are not picking their maximum allocation. So all these are the factors. So what is the solution to this? The solution, actually, let's start from the distribution layer. Honestly speaking, my candid opinion is that some of these distribution companies honestly have no capacity to manage their franchise. You have a distribution company that is controlling 4 states, some 3 states, but in reality, they can probably be able to manage only 1 state. So it's high time we look at this, and if need be, we further decentralize the whole situation. I for one, honestly speaking, I don't see any wisdom in the 40% stake in the distribution companies that the government is still holding, because you are holding 40%. You said on behalf of Nigerians, you are not putting eyes to ensure that your 40% interest in these companies are effectively protected. So why holding on to it? So it's better you either the existing core investors, if they have the fund, let them acquire the remaining 40%, or call for other investors to come and invest and take over the 40%, so that, for example, if you have a distribution company that is currently managing, let's say, 4 states, why not, okay, take 2 states and get another new investor, give it to him, let them manage, and the existing investor, let him or her manage the other 2 states or 1 state where necessary. You can see even in the performance of the distribution companies as it is today, you will discover that companies that have less a more manageable geographical location are even doing much better than those with a very wide geographical franchise. If you take Ikeja, you take Eko, for example, look at the indices, you will discover that the performance of these companies are far better than some of the companies that are having 4 or 5 states as their franchise. So we need to look at this aspect, and when it comes to the transmission company, honestly speaking, I see no reason why, but for, of course, what Engineer Mehaja and Bode and my elder brother here said about undue interferences and inconsistency in policy implementation and formulation. There is absolutely no reason why we should be having the challenges we are having in the transmission level of the value chain, because the transmission company, as we know it up to this moment, is still owned by the government, is still managed by the government, is still one entity. So why should you have difficulty managing such an institution, if not for, of course, the unnecessary interferences from the so-called power that be? So honestly speaking, I think we need to work as a country to let the politicians do their politics. Let them be the politicians that they are. But when it comes to technical issues, please let them allow the professionals exercise their discretion. Let them allow the professionals take decisions. Let them allow I remember very well when I was in the power sector, we had this interface meeting with our counterpart from Niger Republic, Nijalek. During the course of our conversation, they said even the president of Niger, if he wants supply to be extended from one point to another, all he will do is he will write a memo to Nijalek that we want power supply to be extended from point A to point B. It is now left for Nijalek to go and carry out survey and other technical study to ensure, one, is that project practically possible at that material time? Has the company the necessary infrastructure to extend power supply from point A to point B? If they can't, they will just tell him, you have to wait till so period. And that's the end. And whatever it will take to take supply from that point A to point B will be left to the professionals. They will do the study, they will come up with the material requirement and the cost, and they will be given the fund, and they will buy the material, execute the project, and of course, let them come tomorrow and say the contractor supplies substandard materials and let's see. They can't, because they will still manage.
All right, Malam Mohammed, I'm sorry to interject here. We will just take a short break, and when we return, of course, we'll continue our conversation, but we will be bringing in Engineer Mehaja to look at some of the solutions as we begin to wind down this conversation. Please, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria. Don't go away. Let's take a short break.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
The business environment, to be honest with you, has been extremely hard on most Nigerian women's businesses, and of course harsh for a number of reasons. There is no way you would increase or move subsidy and increase the price of fuel that it doesn't have the counter effect. It has been very challenging for so many women. I know that a lot of them have cried in one way or the other to us to find ways of intervening, but that is not to say that it is all doom and gloom. We will still have a few percentage of women that are thriving in this economy, but we hope that we'll be able to get a larger percentage. One of the things I've seen with even our local purchases now is that people are buying more made in Nigerian options of food, of clothing, and so on and so forth than the imported. So that again is helping some of our industries thrive. Surprisingly, the telecommunications is still doing well, and the reason is very simple. A lot of people are going for online options of skills in terms of training, communications, even remote working. And so you will see that people that provide services around those areas also thrive. But I think at the end of the day, it's about partnerships, collaboration, and influencing power from especially the private sector and even the public sector. But we really need the public sector to drive a number of things, especially policies, because the public sector has the national spread above even whatever we can do in our own small way. What has happened over the years is that even the government, for example, is being pulled from different angles by all these stakeholders. We need to harness ourselves to have strategic focus areas, and we should all be moving in the same direction, not using a competitive approach, but a collaborative approach. Secondly, in collaboration, we need to move with large clusters of decision makers. Instead of, the process of reaching out to individuals is painstakingly long and it takes time. And so we need to engage these stakeholders on a larger platform. I think it's very important to identify where you can get help in your own little way. And one of the things I've realized is that when you operate in silo, it is difficult for you to lift yourself out of the situation. Identify ways you can do what you are doing in a simpler way. And if what you are doing is no more profitable, why not find out what can you do in the meantime that will help you? You need to think outside the box and then connect. What you can do is also identify people and become a cluster to provide a service that ordinarily you cannot do alone.
Welcome to Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis, a TV series dedicated to aging and older persons in Nigeria. Be part of this series and discover the transformative programs crafted to give a new lease of life to our senior citizens, courtesy of the National Senior Citizen Center.
The National Senior Citizen Center is the oasis for the senior citizens.
For thought-provoking discussions on aging, geriatric social care, and issues that matter most to our senior citizens.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis.
Tune in to Silver Oasis on the network service of the NTA every Saturday at 10:05 p.m. Silver Oasis, improving the quality of lives of senior citizens.
it's obvious that the discourse have very fundamental challenges or issues because sometimes when you have a fault and you call out to them, especially here in Abuja, you know, it's either you provide for logistics to come, or you even buy. Most times you have to buy the materials you need, you know, to fix the problem. But NBET, it's supposed to be a buffer or a middle person, you know, between government and this discourse. Do you think that NBET should continue to play this role, or do you think that we should now begin to look at, you know, the contract and do a kind of review so that those discos that are not, do not have the capacity, you know, we'll find a way, and then we'll do with those that can do the job for us?
Hello. Thank you so much. I need to first highlight quickly one of the major technical issues. The major technical issue in the system now, like one of the speakers said, is the networks are seriously constrained by losses. Losses in other major countries like China is around 3% on the lines and all through the system, maximum 3%. The losses today in Nigeria, we are talking of 30 to 40%. What it means is if you inject 1,000 megawatt, you end up losing about 30 to 40% of it on the way before it gets there. That is where the discourse refused to understand the transmission. TCN knows this problem, but there is nothing they can do. If you are losing 30% of what you have sent to a particular location, that's a huge amount of money, and they always want to recover it from the customers. That is part of the unfair operational issues that Nigerians are really facing. The second major issue is the technical staff training. I must everyone knows truly that people don't give training importance. If, for example, in the ministry or any government or any institution, somebody is posted to training, it's like they are posting him to where he has no job or things like that. Or if we organize training, people decide to stay back and collect the benefit without really going for the training. So when you don't know what to do on a complex system like transmission or distribution networks, obviously there could be problem. All this system collapse, there is infrastructure deficit, as well as the training lack of capacity in the part of the staffs. Someone also spoke about investment. You see, when you talk about investment, I could recall during the unbundling exercise, it was an international tender. Only 11 or 12 companies really show interest, and 11 of them got each from it. Not any international tenderer that participated, to the best of my knowledge, because they see the environment as hostile, economically not viable, excuse me, because of this issue of corruption. You see, we don't have the resources as much internally. We need external investment that what the president always goes out to seek for investors to come. But the investors, remember, all the foreign companies that have been in Nigeria, they're all left. What? Why? Because this issue that we always don't look at it as important, or don't give it the required attention. Corruption drive them away. Where is John Holt? Where is all this UAC, Leventis in the commercial sector? They're all gone. I know that one of the is prepared to go. So those that knows the environment are living. What do you think the new ones are? How do you think the new ones will come? Of course, they will not come. Please, the major issue is the president must intervene. He must take this seriously to address this issue of lack of political will. He must intervene with all seriousness to address the issue of corruption. He must intervene to ensure that we have a stable structure, a working structure, committed Nigerians to do this job with all seriousness and purposes, with all good intention to make sure that this system works. Otherwise, we will remain blowing grammars every day, discussing about the power sector, when the main issue is known to everyone, but nobody wants to really address the problem securely as it is supposed to be. So the president also need to come in on this issue of policy inconsistencies that we have been talking about. Like now, the new electricity law is in place. They try to sort of unbundle the direct National Electricity Regulatory Commission, whereby you have the national, you have regional, the states should also produce power for themselves. Like I said earlier on in one of our conversation, if we take the case of my state, who will invest in power? Who will construct power plants in your state? I mean, why do you always bring in policies that are just can be read on paper, but you cannot practicalize it? You know, so the issue of policy is a major one that the government need to be more sincere about it. Not sincere in the real sense of it. What I mean, to look at it with a view of getting the power sector revitalized, like we always say. Again, on the issue of policy, for example, now I went to a factory in Muscat, Oman. Then one of the things that attracted my attention was when the presenter was talking, he showed me the installation paper of the power transformers they use. They said they have to resort of buying that one from Sweden, because that is you can trust that one. Not every insulation paper that they want to use. So in Nigerian system, you cannot do that because you are constrained by the law. VPP law disallow you to do that. We know everyone 300 kV circuit breaker, the Siemens are there, the Southwest breakers are there, but we go in and buy other breakers that we know they within a year they will pack off. For example, Katampe transmission, the substation, after completion, the disconnector switches were all bought from China. 1 year plus, 60% of them got problems. So the policy said you just have to buy from the lowest bidder. And then we know what the lower, cheap things have expensive habit. So when you bring in something very cheap, you know what you are paying. I'm not saying you should.
Hey, thank you very much. Engineer Mihaja, sorry, we just need to cut you short here because of our time, and thanks for the solution that you are preferring there. Let's quickly go to our Kaduna studio, where we still have the MD, the former MD there, that is Idris Mohammed. I just want you to speak to the Electricity Act of 2023, which aims to promote state-led growth in the electricity sector, allowing state to create independent electricity market, licensed power generation, transmission, distribution within their borders, which many in the sector have described as, a landmark, development. But it seems that most of the states are still not keen into these. What exactly is the issue here? And my question will be, what role can decentralization, decentralized power distribution actually, such as, power distribution, having mini grids, play in improving access to electricity in the country?
Thank you once again for having me. My opinion on the devolution of electric power functions of NEC is some adding to the confusion that we already have. We had a session with Bode, Tuesday Live last week, and we discussed extensively on the issue of this devolution of NEC functions to states. If at the moment what we have in the electric sector in Nigeria is confusion, and then you are now saying that the same confusion should be extended to the states. So what are you in effect saying? I think what we ought to do is to ensure that at the center, at the federal level, that the inefficiencies have been corrected. And once those inefficiencies have been corrected, we'll now have an efficient electricity market, electricity operations activity, and then the revenue as a result of improved efficiency will translate into huge investment for the sector that the government does not have the capacity to shoulder. Now, talking about funding of the sector, how will you fund the sector in a situation where at the moment we are in areas of up to 3 trillion naira in outstanding liabilities? Where will that come from? Like we have discussed this morning, the issue of what is in the system, everybody knows. And unless that is addressed, a former president was quoted as saying that an X amount of funds were appropriated to improve power supply. But where is the power? I'm still asking that question. Where is the power? Surprisingly, interestingly, I would want to raise this issue now. Major part of the funds that were provided to improve power supply went for importation of distribution, transmission, generation equipment. Those equipments are still lying down in the ports. Those equipments meant for the sector are still lying down in Nigerian Ports Authority. So unless President Bola Ahmed Tinubu set up a committee to really bring out those huge investments that are lying down in the wharf or in the Ports Authority, he will not be helping Nigeria. I know he has the capacity to help Nigeria to get out of the woods. If he can take a decision, it doesn't have to deteriorate before he can take a decision, like the issue of the transmission system collapse that saw northern Nigeria, 17 or 19 states, without power for 2 weeks. And then he said, enough is enough. And then when he intervened, of course, power was restored within 2 days. Within 2 days, power was restored to Nigeria. So please, Mr. President, the equipment that are lying down in Nigerian Ports Authority, please recover that equipment and inject them into the system. Part of the major challenges that we are having is as a result of non-availability of those parts, which is lying down fallow in the Ports Authority, in the wharfs. I think when that is done, you will begin to see a gradual, improvement in steady power supply. You have equipment for transmission, you have equipment for generation, you have equipment for distribution, and it is there. It is lying down. Nobody is talking about it. How can you have power supply when you have invested an X amount of money to the region of $16 billion, and probably half of that amount of money you use them to import electricity equipment, and then it is lying down low? For what? I think it is time for action. President Bola Tinubu is an action man. He should take action and bring sanity to Nigeria's power sector. And the evolution of powers, as far as I know, I think is adding a confusion. Right now, we are discussing that there is no capacity, all right, to be a problem solver. Look at what is happening in Enugu, in Aba. Have that issue of geometric power, has that issue been resolved? If that issue has not been resolved, it's a major issue that will jettison and question why the devolution of powers should be reviewed. I think it's adding to the confusion.
Thank you, Malam Idris. Let me quickly speak to your brother Malam there, who is also there beside you. Let me just recap, issues and solutions. We've talked about the need for planning, the need for compliance with the contractual agreements, policy consistency, the need to deal with corruption, and of course, correct operational inefficiencies. But let's also quickly talk about the alternatives, that investors like Sage Consultancy firm are also advocating. Solar, the use of solar, wind, gas. I mean, is it as easy as they are bantering, as an alternative for Nigerians? Okay, sorry. Then I bring the question to you. Yes.
Well, they are beautiful proposals, and I think they are coming rather too late in the day for us in this country. I mean, it's not today that we know that we have a lot of solar potential in the north. It's not today. Rather than run a long line of, a long transmission line crisscrossing the country, I have no issue with that. But at least you can also localize, so that period of 2 weeks that we didn't have supply in the north, if we had developed our solar potentials over the years, they will just, we will just walk into them and use them almost effortlessly. So for me, it's a fantastic thing, but is it as cheap?
That's why I said, is it more money?
It's not more as as we use it on the streets. It's not more. It's not so cheap. How many houses can afford to have solar facilities in their homes? The cost of the batteries, the panels, even the operations. Some communities, they have installed it in their locations, but the operation is a different ballgame entirely. But that is not to say we should not pursue it. It's still okay for us to pursue it, but it's coming at a time when the economy has been seriously challenged. Imagine that, we had pursued it when our economy was very robust. We would have gone past all of this stage. That's one. Number two.
Sorry, the impression is that we have 5.5 kilowatt hours of solar. Makes it easy and probably come cheaper for us.
No, it's not. It's not as cheap. Unfortunately, we are not a manufacturing, we are not a country that manufactures all these components. So it's still dollar denominated. Now, even the one that we have, coal, we are running after climate issue and things like that. Whereas the Western world that is saying that don't use coal again, they are still using coal, for God's sake. We have not. Look, let us even first of all use the things we have locally here. Enugu used to be the headquarters of coal in this country. I don't know what has happened to all of those natural resources. Let us use them and solve our problem. After we have solved the problem, we can then be dealing with the issue of the climate, as far as I'm concerned.
Beautiful.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Fadipe. I don't know whether we are back to our Kaduna studio because of our time. I just quickly get the key recommendations from Idris Mohammed now. What are the key recommendations from this conversation that you would, recommend to policymakers in just less than 1 minute?
Well, first and foremost is that the power sector is a professional sector, just like the health sector, where you can see that from the minister, most often you discover that they are health professionals. So it is high time, honestly speaking, we allow professionals to head the power sector, because this will allow them to know the difference between a policy that is practicable and the policy that can only work on papers. That is first. We must stop this undue and unnecessary interference in issues of policy formulation, policy implementation in the power sector. Then secondly, I want, honestly speaking, to see how we can decentralize some of these operations. I remember very well, as far back as the 80s, we have a supplementary national control center in Shiruru here. The idea is that we...
Well, Idris Mohammed, Managing Partner, Fomrak Energy Consultant. We like to apologize. We need to just cut you off right now because of our time. Thank you so much for your recommendations. Also, we want to thank the same studio in Kaduna, Idris Mohammed, who is the former Managing Director, CEO, Kaduna Electric and Power Infrastructure. Thank you also for your perspective this morning. We also want to thank via Zoom Engineer Mustafa Yunusa Mehaja, former DG National Emergency Management Agency NEMA and expert in power system planning and development. Thank you for your contributions. And in the studio, our guest, Bode Fadikpe, CEO, Sage Consultant and Communication. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, all right. That's how far we can go this morning on this edition on Good Morning Nigeria. I am Ademola Adeoye.
No, not how far. We have come to the end of it. I'm Claire Adeoye.
Celebrate Ramadan with Bafi and enjoy up to 40% off on selected products from living room, dining room, bedroom, and royal sets. Pay less, save more, and refresh your home for iftar gatherings and cherished moments with family and friends. Visit our showrooms in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu, or shop online to enjoy our exclusive Ramadan sale. Let's make this Ramadan unforgettable.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta, this is the network service of the NTA.
nice to have you again with us. Have you heard that a house is only a house and can only become a home when a woman moves in and runs it? Well, it's not my quote, but then it's definitely a bragging right for me and a lot of women. And the problem therein is that a lot of times, because we feel we can, we begin to think that we are invincible. But that's not true. That quality is only attributed to God alone. We have our challenges as women. We have our problems as women. And one of them, big time, is the health. Yes, a lot of us have health challenges going on within our bodies. Sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't. But then not knowing it does not make us okay, because ignorance is never a saver. We must always ensure that we get to find out, which is why we must have this conversation. Yes, Women's Month, and our theme this year is to accelerate action in diverse fields. Today, we're accelerating our action in health, and then we're ensuring that at the end of the day, if you haven't done the needful, you will go straight up and do the needful to have a better you in health. The show is Conversation, and the house is full. Hello.
Hello. It's good to be here. And
Joy is
really
coming. Joy is coming.
Joy is already here.
Yeah, Joy is here. All right, and
hello, Naomi Abdullah. It's nice to be here.
And
Devan Hamachi, your mom, and it's great to be part of the conversation as usual.
All right, it's great, and I'm going to fire at you right away. I want to know, when last did you do your medical checks?
Okay.
Is it okay?
No, the thing is, it's not something I'm supposed to do it routinely. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not even happy about that. I'm not happy. I have to admit that. That's not good.
But it makes you human.
I don't remember when last I went to hospital for the sake of just doing a check. Yes, I've been to hospital because, I'm not sick. Feeling too well today, but I'm perfectly fine. But let me just go find out what's up. I can't recall.
Okay. And
2023.
2023.
Yeah, I used to end of the year. There is this program they do in one of this hospital in Abuja. They, give a bonus prize, slash the prize for checkup. So I think I did it last 2023. Last year, 2024, I didn't.
Wow.
When was the last? Let me tell you. I don't know. Is it 5 years now when I had issues? The only thing I think I didn't do was MRI. And what happened was that premenopausal menopause, and it was really terrible. So I didn't have a choice because I was uncomfortable. I was sick, so I had to do my test. But I think I should go do my test.
After that, you said goodbye to regular checkups. All right. Don't worry, you're not alone. I wasn't used to, like Devon said, getting up and going to do checks until some things triggered it. And what I discovered at first was mind-blowing. So I had to pay more attention. I think I was just forced by situation to go do it more regularly. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't bother because, in this country, a lot of us will always tell you there's no money for regular things.
No, but it's not really like that. I remembered when I had to do my mammogram, and I thought I was supposed to do mammogram every year, and they told me that no, I can't
it's painful.
It's well, my sister, whether it's painful is not painful. It's what you're running away from, the reality of what you're running away from. But the thing here was that I was advised that I cannot do mammogram every year.
What about the pap smear? I do pap smear every year.
No, the mammogram is different. Pap smear is okay.
Yeah.
Mammogram is not, I think, until you reach a certain age. But we have a doctor who will be joining us. Director, if you can get a doctor, let's just quickly say good morning to him, sorry. So let's see if we can get a doctor. Let's quickly say good morning and hello to him at the same time. So he will be joining us, and then a lot of these questions you're asking, he will get to. Okay, he's here. Good day, doctor. Nice to have you join us.
Good morning.
All right. How are you doing, doctor?
Very well, thank you. It's a good day.
It's always a pleasure to have you because you remind us quickly that women are important to you, which is why you had to go study. Your mom is a woman, and your wife is a woman, your children, you have women mixed as well. So thank you for joining us. And we're just talking about medical checks. Before we move to the field, I'd like to know, how regularly should we have our checks? as ladies?
It's ideal to have annual checks. I mean, in some culture, it's a regular thing. They call it annual checks. But much more in organized health systems, they actually follow you up. Because there are certain checks you need to do at a certain age. And they write to you to remind you. And if you need to have a follow-up, they send you a mail. You should come and have your... Because if you are healthy, it contributes to the economy of the country. And if you are not healthy, it depletes the economy. So it's the responsibility of actually government also to ensure that people stay healthy. And that's why in such system, they take it upon themselves to inform you, to encourage you, to make sure you have your appropriate test done.
All right, so while you were talking about if you are healthy, it helps with productivity of the nation, and that's why government should follow. Joy was laughing. What was that laughter for?
Government in Nigeria, I don't think they're bothered. The hospitals don't even have doctors. Everybody has jackpot.
Anyway,
you cannot even afford the drugs that are there. So, government, how?
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there, because I know that some hospitals here in Nigeria, I have had experience more than once, where I went to do my eye check, and then the orthopedics hospital somewhere in Abuja here too, without meaning to run advert. I'm not going to call their names, but somehow they actually call me to remind me I'm supposed to do something,
Yeah.
So they follow
Is
up.
it private?
Yes, it's private. They actually do that. I wish our government hospitals...
So how many people can afford it?
I wish our government hospitals would get
to be honest, the first time I experienced it, I didn't like it because I'm not used to it.
You didn't like what?
The follow-up. It wasn't for me. I had a relative, a young relative that was losing his hearing. So I had taken him a number of times. Whoever is going to the hospital, I tend to tag along, because I've seen people walk with their two legs into a space and collapse.
Yeah.
So I don't let people go to hospital alone if I can help it. So I had followed him, and all the checks and everything. And they called me back, after a month. I was like, oh, that's nice. But the next time they called me, I was like, no, what's the problem? Why are you people bothering my life? This is a health issue. If you don't reach us like that, we will come by ourselves. Don't be calling me every 2 minutes.
They want to make money.
Yeah, that's where my mind went. I'm like, are you guys broke? I didn't say it, but I didn't appreciate. I should have appreciated. Well, maybe when you're already used to the absence of something, when I was traumatized. Why on they phone me? What is it? And I guess they were trying to be nice. They were trying to do things.
That's how it's supposed to be done.
Yes, that's how it's supposed to be done.
I was not feeling it, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Probably they got yelled at by a number of people on some occasions, like, what's the problem? When we go to hospital for proper sickness, if nobody calls us, we're just calling for ear, came to you for ear, and then now we cannot put phone down again. What is it?
A month after now.
All right. I don't know if he's on the streets trying to find out from Nigerians, other women, what is happening with their health. Director, can you connect to a... Okay.
Knowledge is power, just as education is the key to success. This can very well be applied to our health. We have also had the saying, early detection is a cure. However, it can only be a cure with guaranteed medical visits. Now for us ladies, how many of us walk this path to regular checks? I'll stop you there. Let's stop the guessing game and find out from a sample of Nigerian women how regular they have medical visits.
The last time I did my full medical checkup was in December 2024. Yeah. And how regularly do I do it? I'm not really consistent, you know. Sometimes I do it twice a year. Sometimes I do it every quarter of the year.
The last time I had a general medical checkup was in 2023, October. How often do I do it? Not often, I must confess, not often, but I did have it in 2023.
Genuinely speaking, I don't think I've ever had like a full medical check from start to finish. I've had like different parts where I'd have my blood pressure checked, or if I had a health concern, then they will investigate only pertaining towards what your health concern is. If they need bloods, they'll order bloods. If they need an x-ray scan, they'll do an x-ray scan. But yeah.
Yes, I do go for medical checkups, and very often. You know, I grew up, my parents are medical personnel, and I grew up to know about how important health is to everyone. So I don't joke when it comes to visiting the hospital. But most recently, after clocking 40, I felt it is very necessary that I visit the hospital more frequently.
I do it twice in a month. I go to hospital, although we have a family doctors. I go to hospital. I do some lab in some areas that I feel that I need to. That is necessary for me to do. I do check myself because it's good to look healthy.
I went for a medical checkup last in October, so it covers everything from a blood test to I think a mouth swab, vaginal swab, and also a pap smear. And then they also check your weight, and then they check your BP as well.
After hearing the opinions of some Nigerian women, we'll head back into the studio to find out why it is important for us to have regular medical checkups, or why we shouldn't even bother at all.
Okay, somebody told us that she has checkup twice in a month. That's huge. But let's quickly go see doctor. Director will want to talk with the doctor, get to find out how many times in a week, in a month, in a year are we supposed to do, checks. And then when we say full medical checks for women, not men, it's a month. What should we be asking or looking, to have done on checked in our bodies?
Well, the need for checkups, because very dangerous diseases start silently, quietly, without notice. Most times the diseases that come roaring are not as dangerous as the one that start quietly. So it's only during checkup that one can pick those diseases early before they become a full-blown disease, or at the early phase, and then intervention can actually cure the disease. Really, prevention is more cheaper than cure. Prevention is a lot cheaper. So if we can prevent some of these diseases by actually making early diagnosis, it will go a long way to help us economically. The frequency varies. I know for some people who have some underlying condition already that warrants a more frequent visit to the hospital. Even when they are not sick, they will tell them to come for regular checkup. Let's say somebody has hypertension, is being watched by the doctor, the appointment will be more regular than somebody that is healthy, that will just need to go. I would say a constant one is once in a year, might be average for most people. But certain check varies. If you do, like pap smear, if you do one and it's normal, you might be given up to 3 to 5 years, appointment for a repeat. And similarly, for women, quite a number of areas to pay attention to are cervical pap smear. Cancer of the cervix is prevalent. Breast, cancer of the breast has become an epidemic. pay attention to their general well-being, check the blood to see if the kidney is okay, the liver, and the other things, and then pay attention also to their sight, hearing, as they grow, because some of these organs will start waning as one grow older. So you need to check and discover if there is a problem. You pay attention to them as soon as possible.
Okay. I don't know. When we try to ask questions, I found out a whole lot. But maybe before we get back to the doctor, the ladies here will talk about it a little bit. You know, we try to ask some people questions, and a lot was said about the hormone imbalance and menopause as part of what worries women who are above 30. I don't know what your takes are. I don't know what your takes,
all right.
yeah.
Okay. My gynae used to tell me then that when you're hitting 40, you know, weight is very important.
Weight. Okay.
Weight. He always used to say, watch your weight, make sure you do your exercises. He even advised me to do boxing. Oh yes, he did. He said because he notices my upper body, so there are certain things exercise you do, boxing, swimming, and all that. But I don't think I had the power to do boxing. I skipped that, but I did swimming, and somehow it helped me. And he used to tell me, you have to change your diet. My diet, what time you have to stop to eat. And all, you see, most of the time we think it's more of medical, but there are certain things we have to do for our well-being. Food, oil, salt. Then he told me something about what is the history in your family about certain illnesses. And, you know, he will ask you, do you diabetes, high blood pressure, and all that. So that sort of helped me to navigate how I used to go to the hospital. So,
but did it help with menopause?
No, it didn't. It didn't help with menopause because what happened was that I think my mom was taking what do you call what's all those supplements, and I realized I wasn't a supplement person. So when it now got to menopause, I thought I was dying. You know, so it was when I had to go to hospital. They did the thyroid test. They were doing all the tests. The only one I didn't have this thing to do was the MRI, because I'm a bit claustrophobic. So I was scared to do that. But by the time they checked and did everything, they now said, look, madam, it's menopause. And it was a very difficult time in my life because that thing happened for a stretch of 3 years, 2 to 3 years. And the worst one was palpitation. But you see, after a while, when you go to your doctor and you talk, I had to change some certain things I used to eat. I had to, you know, exercise and all that. That one sort of stabilized me.
Okay, before we quickly go back to Devon, I'd like Doctor to speak on this menopause thing, because he came top on the list of things that women, you know, complain about. So what are those things that we should do to ensure that we walk ahead mitigation for menopause problem? Doctor, can you hear? Okay, I can see you. So what are the things we can do to ensure that at the time is coming? She mentioned her mother was doing a few things and it worked for her, and she didn't. It didn't work for her. So what should we do to make sure that when menopause comes, it comes nice and smoother?
Okay, let me first start by saying that menopause is not a disease. Menopause is a phase, a transition from one level in a woman's life to another level. And let's start by working on our minds, because menopause as a condition affects the whole of our being. It affects the body, it affects the mind. And to a large extent, the affectation of the mind is probably worse than the body. You know, there's a lot of psychological changes and things like that. So let's first be aware that menopause is a natural thing, and it's going to happen to all women. Let's accept it, let's embrace it, let's prepare for it, okay? That's when we can be well adjusted to it. Now, a number of things that we can do to prepare for menopause is to be aware. Read, talk to people, be conscious of what it is. and what will likely happen or may not happen. And when you're aware of that, ask questions about what to do. It relates with health promotion, diets, exercise, lifestyle, certain things to avoid. If you are sedentary, menopause might not be good for you. You might need to start exercising, put your weight in check. A number of simple things. And then we can go to diet. There are some diets that are rich in some supplements that will help your body to cope more effectively with menopause. And then there are supplements, several of them. She tried to mention Primus, whatever, that the mother was using. There are many other ones. Some are fake, some are good, but there are several in town. But if we notice in the old time, menopause was not as much of a problem to our old women like it is now. I think it has to do with diet and exercise. And we need to live in a community, a loving community, the extended family system with the family support and everything. That's a way of helping, having the tender loving care all around you.
Okay, I'm just wondering, you mentioned about diets and the other exercise and other lifestyle patterns. Now, I would like to know, what are those, telltale signs that can happen? You said we should read, we should prepare. A lady told us that when she didn't know it was premenopausal issues, she found out that at night she couldn't sleep. Is that also part of it?
It is.
Yes.
It is. It is. What happens in menopause, you have a sudden, well, it's not so sudden, it's gradual. You have a gradual withdrawal of the hormone, the woman hormone, estrogen. And it starts going down, And that hormone actually affects all the parts of the body. It affects the way you relate, it affects every part of the body. So when it's being withdrawn gradually, naturally, your body starts reacting to that. It comes in sleeplessness, in fear, palpitation. Yeah. It comes in being aggressive for some women. It comes in so many symptoms, almost all parts of the body. All the systems are affected, even the brain, everything, because the hormone works on all parts of the body. So that is the main pathology. So when you are prepared for it, you begin to learn how to cope with it, how to respond to those emotions, how to adjust to those feelings, and what you can do to mitigate the hot feelings, the sleeplessness. It's not all of it that you need drug for, really. And as much as possible, you should avoid using drugs.
Yeah. All right, as the doctor was talking, I was just thinking, okay, how are our husbands going to cope with it? Because when you suddenly move from that loving, gentle wife to the very aggressive, the man talks, you snap and all that, I hope they will understand. We'll get back to the doctor too.
They're not loving all the time anyway.
You say what?
They're not loving all the time anyway.
We're not loving all the time.
They are not loving all the time. No, but seriously, so I think it's just worse perhaps during menopause. And for me, I'm almost 50, and when my friends talk about menopause, to be honest, I'm still waiting for it. Because the first flashes, one of my friends came over and she was always sweating, always uncomfortable. And I said, oh my God, please God, don't let me go through this part. So I think, but like Dr. said, it's all about, perhaps because of my work, I'm a mindset coach, I talk about mental health. So I've been working on myself and programming myself in preparation for menopause. It's a part of life, it's a phase, as Doc has said. So when it comes, just manage it. The emotional, the mood swings are things already we talk about in emotional intelligence. So just basically learning to manage it. And I think the lifestyle, for me, it's key. We have to receive sense. There are certain things you cannot eat anyhow as you grow older. I remember about 30 years ago, I used to take Coke with every meal. With every meal, I took a bottle of Coke, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Who bought me now to try it? Wow. So as you grow, you might go receive sense. You have to eat healthy. I eat a lot more vegetables. Some people know they even borrow. So you eat healthy and eat a lot more vegetables, less canned food, less drinks, more of water. I think for almost 10 years now. And supplements, honestly, supplements are fantastic. I've been taking supplements for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's why I'm in trouble.
Yeah, supplements are fantastic. They're good for the body. Because I work a lot with my laptop, I even take antioxidant for the eyes. There's an night. So I think it's all about being intentional. Yeah. You know who you are, you know where you are in your life, you know where you're headed, you should prepare for it.
Well, I don't know what Devon has to add to it because it's a big issue for all of us.
Well, I think it's a phase like any other phase. You go from childhood into your teens where you begin to menstruate as your body prepares you for the possibility of motherhood, and you have that window frame within which your body can carry a baby and all of that. And then there comes a time when the body says, okay, let's put a full stop to this. And I think it's good the body does that, because I think that there are women who are married into situations where if there were no menopause, they would be forced to keep having children So it's good. It's a welcome development. It's just for you as the woman to know what to expect, and know how to handle it.
All right, beyond menopause and issues around it, I don't know if you have other issues you want to share about women's health.
I want to share about fibroid.
Okay, fibroid, okay.
Yeah, I had a friend, I lost a friend.
Oh.
She was hitting 50, and she had the fibroid for like 12, 15 years. And anytime we go out, they'll say, oh, madam, so no, they will allow her in first because so she said, Joy, do they think I'm pregnant? So during COVID, when we used to go to the supermarket, they let you queue. So I'll say, just move forward, that's what we used to do, and they will allow us in and all that. And I remember I was telling her that you're going to be 50. Why do you want to do surgery? Just let it be. I said, because it's not every doctor that knows how to take care of fibroid. Because most of the time, like my doctor said, the fibroid, most of the time, some are on blood cells. So if you don't know how to operate it and you just yank it off, you bleed to death. And most people that I know that have died, that's what has happened. And my doctor told me something. He said, when you're having menopause, after a while, the blood dries up. So fibroid, within some years, everything goes. So I always tell people that if you can manage the pain and it's not below you, then why don't you just wait till when you have menopause and it just disappears by itself? It's a very scary. Yeah. If you have friends who have it, when it's period time, the pain. Some people say when fibroid is lower, it hurts and all that. But I won't lie to you. I would rather just wait till menopause too. But everybody is different.
I once had a guest at home. She was in the guest room.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the night, there was this noise, sound, banging on the door. I got scared. I walked up to the guest room and I was begging her to open the door. She couldn't even open. She just kept shouting and lamenting. And then at the point, I had to look for a spare key to open the door because she already locked herself inside. This lady was on the floor.
Blood.
And the floor was uncontrollable. She was screaming. I got scared. I didn't know what was going on. So eventually, I tried to talk to her and ask questions. She said, don't worry, I'm just menstruating and it's painful. That was all she managed to tell me, and it took so long to say that. When she got better, 2 days after, I said, why is your period coming with so much trauma? She said, because of fibroid. It was my first time seeing that kind of a thing, and I was really, really shocked. But let's see what doctor has to say, because this fibroid thing, it looks like almost every woman is carrying it. I don't know.
No, I didn't carry it.
I didn't either.
I didn't. So
I don't either. I don't have that issue.
I don't think it's everybody. And you know what they say?
I'm hearing it more often now.
But the one that the doctor used to say, oh, you have to carry a baby. If not, it's going to grow back. Because I have friends who have done it 2-3 times, and I'm wondering, they've had babies.
They remove the first one.
They remove the first one. It comes back again. Then the doctor tells you that if you don't carry a baby, the thing is going to come back. But I see them, they're carrying babies, and the fibroid is back again. So I don't get it.
The doctor is sitting here, and good thing he's a gyno. So let's stop postulating and go straight up. Doctor, please, can you answer all our questions? I don't even know how many there are now, but there are so many of them.
Fibroid is quite common Okay, let me conclude with the menopause. I think we need to prepare our young girls for menarche, starting of their period. That's the one end of it. The other end is menopause. Because we have several young girls who have their first menstruation without being aware of what to expect. We need to educate them. And I'm happy there are some NGOs now who are taking that up, talking to them about how to take care of themselves. The same way, I hope we'll have NGO to take care of the other end of it, which is menopause, when the menses will stop. Because women will need to be prepared, be educated, so that they know how to handle that. Now let's talk about fibroid. Fibroid is quite common with black people. It's predominantly a disease of black women, to a large extent. It's very common. It's very common. Some people say it's as common as 80% of black women. It's that common. Majority of them won't have any symptoms. For many people, they don't even know they have fibroid. Maybe they went for a scan, and then the doctor will scan and say, there's a small fibroid there. That's when they will know for the first time. I might not affect them all through life. So for majority of women, fibroid is not a problem to them. Few of them have fibroid with terrible problems, and those are the ones that we're concerned about. And the alarming symptom of fibroid is the bleeding, the excessive bleeding. It can really be terrible. It can be terrible. There are other things, pain has been mentioned. Then the pressure effect, because of the size, it will start resting on some other organs around the womb. Yeah. And it can be as dangerous as called a kidney problem. Yeah. Because if it's resting on the tube that connects the kidney, it can damage the kidney. So we know that it's a problem of reproductive age, and by the time the woman is getting to menopause, the hormone that is feeding the fibroid will no longer be there. That's the hormone that makes a woman a woman. As it's withdrawn, it will not feed the fibroid. So if the woman is close to menopause, the fibroid is not giving so much problem, she might be advised, okay, after menopause, the fibroid won't be a problem again because there will be nothing to feed it. But for some women, very rarely, the fibroid can also change. It's supposed to be a benign tumor, but it can become something more sinister. Those ones will definitely need surgery. Or if it's already compromising some other organs around the place, those ones will need surgery. But to a large extent, by the time a woman gets to menopause, the issue of heavy bleeding, the pain, so many other things might actually be cut off from the fibroid as a symptom. Fibroid, yes. Removing the fibroid can be a dangerous surgery sometimes. But it's so common around there that most doctors in Nigeria particularly can handle operating fibroid very well. Even much more than people who run abroad to go and do the fibroid, because they don't have as much experience, and to them, they are so afraid of it that they will just recommend, let's remove the whole womb. We can't start removing fibroid one by one and then the bleeding and everything. But around here, the expertise has increased because of practice, and most doctors, most gynecologists can handle it quite well, as much as possible. So we encourage people who have problems to see a gynecologist, a reputable gynecologist, and have the fibroid removed. Now, the problem is when fibroid is there, it might actually hinder getting pregnant. And not getting pregnant on time might encourage fibroid to grow. Wow. So there is this talk that if you allow pregnancy, it might prevent fibroid. It's not absolute, yes. It can minimize, but the main reason why fibroid is removed and the womb preserved is for the woman to have children. So the surgery is carried out. We advise the woman to quickly have her children as soon as it's completed her family. If the fibroid should recur, the womb will be removed. That's the cure, you know. And having to do the fibroid operation 2-3 times is more dangerous. That's even more prone to complications than doing it the first time. So as much as possible, the reason why the fibroid is removed and the womb left is for the woman to have children. So she'll be encouraged to quickly have her children, and as soon as she's completed her family, if the fibroid recurs, the womb is removed. And that will be a cure for the fibroid.
All right, this fibroid thing, is it hereditary or is it genetically, transferred, or can it just happen? I don't know. I've also heard some people mention that you can shrink it by taking Abu, a natural thing. I don't know how that works, but I need you to speak on it.
Since we're talking this fibroid thing, because we're directing it to the doctor, so there's a study that came out some years ago that hair relaxers have been found to have a direct link. This study was not carried out in Nigeria. I think it was carried out in the United States. And because, like you said, it's a black women's thing, and they wanted to find out, okay, what could it be, diet? And they found that most of the women that were affected, if not all,
had relaxed hair,
were using relaxers.
Oh, wow.
Very, very frequently. So I don't know, is this some kind of, is it pseudoscience? Is it just pop culture? Is it just gossip? But to be very frank, that was partly what informed my decision to go natural. And you'll see that there are many Nigerian women, I don't know if they're also aware of it, but there was a time when that story really went round. And I was like, it's possible, because there are chemicals that you can absorb through your skin. That's why you're also told not to bleach. It affects your internal organs. So if bleaching creams can affect my internal organs, then there might be merit. There might be merit in thinking that hair relaxers and all these chemicals might also.
Power. I never knew that.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. I ignored it. Then other people started mentioning it, and I was like, okay, maybe there's merit in it. But luckily, we have a doctor here that will tell us whether it's true or not.
People who are bleaching don't know.
No, because I know that hydroquinone in bleaching cream and mercury, they are actually very bad, and they expose you to the UV.
Yeah, I thought everybody knew about the damage. They know. Well, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Sorry to digress, but you know, Mariam Babangida, First Lady Mariam Babangida, she was a dark-skinned woman. Beautiful. And back then it was the military. You know, things could happen based on order. And that was when there was this whole campaign against bleaching. You could not even import the creams into the country and all of that. So back then there was a lot of education around it. So even as a child, I remembered, you know, and saw value in keeping my skin dark. I mean, like, the woman was dark and she was beautiful. So that helped me to realize that you don't have to be light-skinned to be considered beautiful. It was a very good, but let the doctor throw more light on that.
You know, speak on this. Devon has just mentioned about the hair dye, and then I already asked, can I
relaxers?
Hair relaxers, sorry. Can Agbo shrink fibroid as well?
The cause of fibroid is not known, but there are some factors that can encourage the growth of fibroid. And one of the major factors is hormone. As I mentioned before, you know, most of these products have some ingredients. Some of them are hormonal. Maybe the hair relaxer you mentioned has some hormonal components. Maybe. Then it can actually contribute to the growth of the fibroid. Apart from that, yeah, there is also a genetic predisposition, you know, but it's not labeled as a cause. Yeah, it might be something that affects sisters, it might be something that affects mother, daughter. Yeah, there is. But it's not 100% that if the mother had fibroid, certainly the daughter will have fibroid. It's not like that. Some might escape, some might not. Yeah, there is a genetic touch to it. And there are drugs to shrink fibroid. Yeah. Even conventional drugs. I'm not talking of herbal drugs, because I don't know much about that. There are conventional drugs to shrink fibroid. But the limitation with these drugs is that they have their own side effects, number one. Number two, they can't work for a long time. So if we have to give it, you give it for a short while, and the moment you stop those drugs, there will be a rebound growth, you know. So what people use that drug for commonly is if the fibroid is so big and the woman is going for surgery and you want to reduce the size before surgery so that you can minimize the bleeding. You give the drug for a while so that the size of the fibroid will be released before surgery. And commonly that's what it's used for. Or if the woman is close to menopause and it's becoming a terrible problem, you just want to quieten the fibroid for a while before she gets to menopause. That one is also done. But a permanent drug that will remove fibroid, I'm not aware of that. And traditional medicine, yeah, there are good ones, there are bad ones. I'm also not aware of any that has actually cured fibroid. I've encountered a large number of women who are afraid of having surgery, and they trusted in herbal medications. I don't discourage them. If they still have time, go ahead. And some of them come back after a while with a worse fibroid, a number of them. I've not seen any that has given a report of total cure of fibroid. So I can't speak to that. Maybe there might be, but for now, I'm not aware of any.
All right, thank you very much. And just to buttress what you said, I have a relation who had fibroid, and she did everything she could not to do surgery, drank all manner of things. Well, the good news is she still did the surgery and she has her children. So, wow. And a lot of people are writing in, please forgive me, I may not be able to read this now until when we have taken the next feature. But let me say, this one said Joe from JBK. I don't know what JBK is. Maybe if you write it full, we can explain. I like what he did here. He said Okmanachi, Devan, Abai, Memuna. Thank you. I'm Joe from JBK. I don't know where that JBK is, but all the same, thank you. Somebody says, another one says here that she has challenge with her breast. What could that? Okay, we already mentioned something about breast cancer, and I know that my winning team did something quite good to tell us about the prevalence in Nigeria. If it's ready, can we have that bit on breast cancer? Then we'll talk more.
Have heard the observance no brady. It is one observance all ladies globally are ever eager to chant. It doesn't just come from the fact that women are happy to be free of the burden of wearing a bra, but more an avenue to bring to the awareness of the enemy and destroyer of the mammalian gland, breast cancer. Breast cancer is a prevalent type of cancer characterized by uncontrolled breast cell development. Every year, there is an all-time recorded increase in breast cancer world over. Although it affects both men and women are more likely to be affected. It is no secret that it is the most frequent cancer in our sub-Saharan Africa, accounting for the highest age-standardized incidence rate worldwide. The case in Nigeria is one of great concern, as it is the leading cause of cancer-related mortality in the country. This accounts for 23% of our diagnoses and 18% of deaths. These high death rates are caused by delayed diagnosis, which is further fueled by the lack of understanding of how the knowledge of breast cancer risk factors affects the lifestyle and dietary choices of Nigerians across age groups. According to statistics of years past, breast cancer is present in around 63 out of every 100,000 women, and an age-standardized mortality rate of 25.5 per 100,000. One would expect that as we advance as a nation, the numbers will decrease. But unfortunately, the numbers keep increasing. The question on the minds of most women is, how can these be reduced, if not completely eradicated?
Anyway, the fear of disease is the beginning of wisdom for a lot of us. And what I picked up from that bit is early detection, which comes from knowing. But a lot of us, we mentioned earlier, we don't do checkups regularly, but at least you can do your self-examination. How you know how to do that?
Yeah, I was taught how to do it. But to be honest, I even joked with the doctor. I said, me with my small breast. I've noticed the women that are having breast cancer. Of course, it doesn't mean, I'm sure the doctor will say it. It's people that have really large breasts, you understand? So when she said, do the test,
that's not true.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but I just joked about it because I said, well, I wanted to find it safe.
Yeah.
You know?
No, but it's easier for you who don't have very large ones to be able to detect than for us who are big. So you see, every morning what I do, I raise my hands up, I go the side, I check whether I have a lump from under my armpits and all that. I press everywhere, I try to check my nipples. That's one scary thing. Every time I think of it, I'm like, but there was something my doctor said, and I realized that some friends that I had, that their grandmother had it, their mother had it, they're already having they're
anxious,
the symptoms of, so sometimes they say, I don't know whether it's hereditary.
It is.
Okay. So
okay, let's say, doctor, please, can you answer that question, doctor?
So you have
can
to
you
be
quickly answer the question? Is breast cancer something I can pick on the road, or does it follow come? You know what I mean?
Breast cancer is hereditary.
Director, can you get it, doctor? Okay.
There is a gene for it that can be tested in people who have family history. And if the gene is present, there are some of them, even before the breast cancer develop, they remove their breast. And they do prophylactic breast removal. They get that radical because of the devastation of breast cancer. But the simple thing is just early detection. Like you have mentioned, self-examination. Husband can help wife to examine the breast. And it's pleasurable that way. Apart from that, you can see the doctor if you detect anything, and then the doctor can confirm, you can do other tests. And then there is a simple, small needle test to just check if the doctor is not sure, just to take a part of that place and see if there is any cancer cell, So, as you have said, early detection. Once it's detected early, it can be cured.
All right, so talking about early detection, some people may not understand how it's done. Let's see if we can have this on a self-breast examination. Director, can we have a bit and teach us how to do it? Thank you so much. Let's quickly take a bit of mails here. Hello, Elizabeth and the house. Good morning to you. And how are your families? I'm one of the numerous fans and always watching your program, only that the network is not very friendly. This is my direct line. You can reach me. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. We will be... Another person says, good morning to you all. I'm Sarah from Kuje. I love this program. Thank you so much, Sarah. And still from our WhatsApp group. And this person says, oh, wow, what did I just do? Good morning. You're doing a great job in the studio. This topic is very educative. Open up during a relationship is the key to affecting your future. That's Amos from Jos. Thank you, Amos. And another person says here, good morning, distinguished women with pure hearts. I love your conversation this morning. I was carried away with it. I usually don't stay on NTA, but my subscription got finished recently. And I'm happy I joined for this GIST Common Health Challenge. Thank you, subscriptions are finished. Says, thank you so wonderfully. This is a good program. Women's challenges, women's, I don't know. Okay, we are just appreciating the topic, and I also want to believe that you have also learned from it. And another person says, good morning. Some movements around my stomach. What could it be? All right.
We don't know what.
Go and see a doctor, please. All right. There's not much of time to go ahead, but I would like Devon to speak in conclusion about women and how to ensure that we maintain our balance in good health.
You see, I'll conclude on something that I wish I'd spoken about earlier.
Okay.
Those of us that like smoked fish, please be careful. The people that sell these things, they apply otapiapia directly to it. I've seen this with my own eyes.
What's otapiapia?
I don't want to use the company name.
Okay, that's things like killing
pesticides.
Oh, okay, yes,
yeah.
yes.
But there's a particular brand, I don't want to call it, people have used that to terminate their lives and all of that. They use it directly on smoked fish. Now, you might eat it and not feel the immediate effects, like maybe visiting the Louvre. But over time of consistently eating that, what could it be doing to our bodies? Yeah. Not just women, but also men. I don't know how this thing can be addressed, but it's a huge issue in the country. And I cannot help feeling that it must be contributing somehow to adverse effects in our bodies, not just women.
Okay. Wow. Coach?
Well, I would say, please, let's be intentional. Life happens to everybody, so just do the best you can. Look at your lifestyle. What are you doing? What are you not doing? I think it will go a long way.
All right.
Like they say, knowledge is power. So most of the time, look for people who have experienced it, and it would tend to help you.
It does help. And somebody here says, good morning. This show helps us a lot to educate people. Please keep it up. Thank you very much. You didn't write your name, but I see Huzaifa and on your page as your name. Thank you so much. I wish I can take more. Let's see. Director, if you're not in a hurry, let's see if we can get some more messages. Maybe one or two more before we go. Okay, please kindly help me with the number of... Sorry, I will not be able to give you somebody's number from here.
She wants the doctor.
And before we go, doctor, please can you, speak generally? You have worked with women for a number of years, and based on your experience, what should we be doing to ensure that, as a woman, especially Nigerian woman, we keep our health, on the top? Because, like I said when we started, women, once we're around, the home gets running really smoothly.
Women are very important to the society. In fact, the whole society revolves around women. So we want them to be healthy so that we can have a healthy society. So prevention is better than cure. Pay attention to your health. Health is wealth. Keep fit.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. And to all the people who have been staying with us for this past 1 hour, thank you for coming. And if you're a woman, love yourself. That's always a key word. Love yourself. And when you say you're loving yourself, it means that you must ensure that you balance your food, you balance your weight, and very importantly for me, your mindset. Please detoxify your mind. Stay positive always. And then that way, you'll transmit positivity into your work, your family, and the entire society. We'll be with you again next week. Again, it's Conversations.
Target audience. With our digital format and wide range, we can reach your customers in next to no time. We are eager to promote your business, goods and services. So, partner with us for a very rewarding business experience. For more information, please call or visit our office at NTA Headquarters, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. NTA News 24. News and more news.
Ramadan Mubarak! This season, StarTimes is bringing more value to you and your loved ones with Ramadan Upgrade promo. Recharge now and enjoy inspiring Islamic programs on Iqra TV, Sunnah TV, and many more. You can also enjoy top Filipino series, Gangs of Manila, which begins 1st of March, plus other great content. That's not all. Recharge 1 month on Nova Bouquet and get upgraded to Basic Bouquet. Recharge 1 month on Basic Bouquet and get upgraded to Classic Bouquet. Recharge 1 month on Classic Bouquet and get upgraded to Super Bouquet. Recharge 1 month on Super Bouquet and enjoy 5 days extra on us. Promo begins February 24th and ends March 31st. This Ramadan, enjoy more entertainment, get more knowledge, and receive more blessings. Hurry now, recharge and upgrade with StarTimes. Ramadan Mubarak.
Celebrate Ramadan with Bafi and enjoy up to 40% off on selected products from living room, dining room, bedroom, and royal sets. Pay less, save more, and refresh your home for iftar gatherings and cherished moments with family and friends. Visit our showrooms in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu, or shop online to enjoy our exclusive Ramadan sale. Let's make this Ramadan unforgettable.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau,
Welcome to the news at 10. I am Comfort Amadu. Let's take a look at some of the key headlines making the news this morning. President Tinubu meets Niger Delta leaders, tax them to broker peace in River State.
Niger Delta is the goose that lays the golden egg. So don't kill the goose. And I ask this to golden egg permanently.
Vice President Kashim Shettima credits President Tinubu's policies to current economic growth in the country.
Highly impressed by the grasp of issues by all our respective ministers.
Coordinating Minister of Health unveils presidential initiative to unlock healthcare value chain. Focused and forward-looking as China sets new agenda for Africa. Let's start with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to leaders in the Niger Delta area of the country under the umbrella of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, with the responsibility to broker peace in the lingering political instability in River State. President Tinubu gave this task in the interest of peace and of the people of the state when he met with leaders of the social political group in the State House. State House correspondent Musba Nawahab reports.
The roll call of the leaders from the Niger Delta area who thronged the State House summarily suggested the import of their mission. Traditional rulers, present and past political leaders were in the train. This is a delegation in search of peace. One of their states, Rivers, has been in political troubled waters for more than a year. And for that long, two political elephants in the state have been at loggerheads, and these leaders are calling for help to save the citizens who are seemingly at the receiving end.
This protracted conflict is a matter of grave concern, as Rivers State is a strategic economic hub, particularly in the oil and gas sector, which we all know is the backbone of our national revenue. Any instability there has far-reaching implications, not just for the South-South, but for the entire country.
Yes, Niger Delta is the goose that lays the golden egg. But don't kill the goose. And I ask means the golden egg permanently.
Inasmuch as the president agreed with the peace mission of the group, it took them on a memory lane of his intervention from the outset of the crisis.
We reached an agreement, written agreement. Both parties signed. Some leaders thought the governor of Rivers State was wrong to have signed, but they didn't implement. Where do we find ourselves today?
But then, with the matters running their course up to the Supreme Court, President Tinubu says the rule of law must prevail.
I have total confidence in our judiciary. But when the Supreme Court is spoken, that's it. Please go back home and help him implement those recommendations within the shortest possible time. Well, go back home and take charge of peace. And if you need me, let me know. People of Rivers State must not suffer for the democracy that we all put together. They will not. They must be protected.
The leaders have other important requests, including investments in security and infrastructure developments in their area, which the president promises to look into.
We are planning on economic opportunity in those areas, specifically to be able to build things. We are brilliant people. We can do things. With our youthful population, we can achieve the greatest thing in Africa.
Meanwhile, the auxiliary bishop of Calabar, Bishop Christopher Nasseri, led a special prayer for the president and the prosperity of the nation. There was a minute silence for a late founding father of the Pandef who passed on recently, late Chief Edwin Clark.
May his soul rest in perfect peace.
From the State House, Muspal Nanwahab, NTA News.
Ahead of the forthcoming Nigeria-Brazil strategic dialogue mechanism, Nigeria is now on a new growth trajectory, ready for investment across different sectors. Vice President Kashim Shettima, during an update meeting with relevant ministers and heads of agencies at the presidential villa, noted that this mechanism is part of government's strategies to prepare for a better tomorrow. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This meeting is part of preparation for Brazil's vice president, who is set to lead a delegation of top executives in the country's public and private sectors on a state visit to Nigeria for the second session of the Brazil-Nigeria Mechanism for Strategic Dialogue, after over a decade-long break. And Vice President Kashim Shettima expressed satisfaction with the submissions of the real issues by ministers in the key sectors targeted for deliberations during the strategic dialogue mechanism slated for the later part of the year.
And the involvement of the ministers is absolutely essential because the strategic dialogue meeting is you and I that will meet with the Brazilian Vice President and his team. So there has to be some clarity, some strategic coherence, and a deep understanding of issues that will be tabled for discussion. And I have to confess that I was highly impressed by the grasp of issues by all our respective ministers. And we can leverage on several fronts.
The meeting stressed the need to leverage the huge opportunities inherent in the partnership between both countries to actualize Nigeria's vision across agriculture, culture and tourism, livestock production, and military technology.
The Brazilian population has a lot of interest in the content and culture and talent and just the creative industry that comes out of Nigeria. So we wanted to use that opportunity to expand that unity and that partnership that we're going to have under the MOU.
For us in foreign affairs, what is key is that it's been a long journey, and we're grateful to the Vice President finally having this thing come to pass.
The upcoming $1.1 billion Green Imperative project also exemplifies the depth of the relationship and its potential to revolutionize Nigerian agriculture through modernization and technology transfer. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Apart from validating ongoing bold economic reforms undertaken by the Tinubu's administration, a recent commentary on Nigerian economy offered by Chatham House in its published article represents unbiased indications of the renewed industry capacity of the country. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, stated this in a chat with the State House correspondents on the submission of the article, which describes the nation's economy as being most competitive under President Tinubu in the last 25 years.
It makes them more competitive relative to our neighbors, in particular in West Africa and indeed the whole of Africa. So you have Nigerian manufactured exports turning up regularly now, and particularly under the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduole, says Nigeria's trade beyond its borders is critical to the country's economic growth and development. Aliko Panachi Arua reports that the minister stated this at the Women-Led Businesses tagged her showcase event in Abuja.
In pursuit of global market integration and trading beyond the borders, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, initiated a partnership with International Trade Center, ITC, to promote mutual economic growth between the two countries. Taking the initiative to the next level, Executive Director and CEO, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Nonye Ayeni, believes that the partnership will also focus on promoting trans-border trades, which involve connecting Nigerian businesses with buyers and investors in other countries.
We're here to support you. Whichever trade fairs you want to go to, around Africa or around the world, let us know. We'll be there with you.
We have also embarked on certification. I'm sure some of you have started benefiting from certification. In the last 2 months, we've done about 105, and we've embarked on another one.
This strategic alliance, according to stakeholders, will also provide a platform for skill acquisition, knowledge sharing, networking to succeed in global trade.
If women in trade are unleashed, we can diversify the economy away from oil and achieve a great leap forward. Women in politics, it's well evident, more women in political life can increase a country's GDP by 10 to 20%.
Standing here, I'm a beneficiary of the ITC Street Trade Program. We recently just came back from Zimbabwe. I think the government is doing their best. We want more, but as it is, they are doing well.
The event, a testament to the power of women entrepreneurs and international trade, also featured the display of diverse range of products, from fashion and textiles to food, beverages and vegetables. The collaboration as part of events to mark International Women's Day also aim to increase women participation in politics and gender equality. In Abuja, Alika Opanachi, Arua, NTA News.
Nigeria and China are also set to collaborate on a partnership to boost the tourism and creative sectors. The partnership aims to strengthen ties between the two nations, unlocking new opportunities from growth, innovation, and cultural exchange. This collaboration will allow Nigerian artists to tap into the Chinese market, where there is a growing demand for Nigerian music. The partnership will also focus on tech development, including animation, incubation programs for young creatives, and streamlined visa processes for stakeholders in tourism and the creative sectors. Nigerian's Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, welcomed the partnership proposal, assuring China of President Bola Tinubu's commitment to expanding bilateral ties and economic growth. With the creative sector contributing 4% to Nigerian's economy and a target of $100 billion in investment, this partnership is expected to yield significant benefit for both the nations. Our coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says a viable health care. All right, we pause here to join a live media parley with the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wiki.
Now to go, and there's so much for you to know this morning. The countdown to May 29 is on, and of course, as you know, under the Constitution, the President of Nigeria is directly in charge of administering the Federal Capital Territory, but this he does through his direct representative, the Minister of the FCT. As the countdown to May 29 begins, which will be the second anniversary of the president, there's this frenzy, there's a race against time to ensure that the minister keeps his promise to present the president with some projects to commission to mark his second year in office. My name is Benga Aruleba. I work for I work with Africa Independent Television, AIT. And of course, as usual, I have my colleagues here with me. Let's start from my immediate right, my colleague from TVC News.
Ayodele Ozuba, TVC News.
I'm Somna Sambo, Arise News.
And of course, on the other side of the aisle, Gloria.
I'm Gloria Omezeke, Channels Television.
Fisayo Ogunfuyi, Nigerian Television Authority.
All right, guys, we'll formally welcome the Honorable Minister of the FCT to today's media chat. Honorable Minister, good to have you with us, sir.
Thank you very much, Menga.
Well, we are still in the month that we celebrate our women. There's just only one lady on the panel. Let's try to make up for that by allowing the only lady to ask the first question on this media chat. Gloria?
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your time. Thank you for this opportunity. And so we'll begin with your recent trip to Italy, where you met with the president of the Lombardy region. Now, what informed this move, and what advancements would this portend for the FCT residents?
Well, thank you very much. Our visit to Lombardy has to do with partnering with the city in terms of vocational education and agriculture. The Italian ambassador last year came to me and said, look, that with what we are doing in the FCT, that he would like us to partner, create that opportunity to have a relationship with Lombardy. Which is they are good in agriculture and vocational training. So we exploited that, and we want to have made this visit since last year, but because of engagements, but at the end of the day, we were able to be in Italy, and that paid off. What we agreed is that for now, we're going to send our people to Lombardy for training, vocational training, and then within some time, they will now establish a vocational institute in Abuja, where our youth will be trained in various skills, and also in terms of agriculture, mechanized agriculture. And the president was quite happy. Of course, like he said, he has heard about a lot of good works going on in Abuja. So he was very happy to have this collaboration between the city of Lombardy and the FCT. Of course, that is in tandem with the New Hope agenda of what the president has been shortly talking with other countries, how to partner with Nigeria, bringing investors. I'm very glad, very happy. That is one of the trips that has yielded results. So the federal health, like the Mandate Secretary of Education and Mandate Secretary of Agriculture, were part of the delegation. So they are working out the details now with officials of Lombardy. I feel so happy that our youth will now have several areas where they can help themselves, be trained, and then try to be self-employed. In fact, we came back on Monday or yesterday, today, we came back, and I believe in just 1 week, they will have finished, tidying up all the documentation, and then we'll be able to send the first set of our youth to Lombardy for training.
You're looking at other countries to collaborate with for further development?
Yes, because the ambassador of Morocco and Egypt had also come to us to say that we can have some collaborative arrangements with them. I believe that we'll be visiting the Rabat and the Cairo very soon and see what we can get out of it. Yeah.
On Mr. President's first anniversary, we saw how he was invited by the FCT administration to commission landmark projects. Now that we're preparing towards the second anniversary, can you give us a glimpse into what to expect?
Of course, everyone should know that we'll be ready. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. If there's one place that anybody is assured of Mr. President commissioning projects will be in FCT. But they're not just projects. My blueprint that where everybody will say, look, indeed, FCT has turned around. So we are preparing ourselves against May 29. I know it will be very, very engaging, to be very, very taxing from Mr. President. But we'll still plead with him. We'll still plead with him. You know, last time we took Mr. President for about 2 weeks. I know that some people may not be happy. We are trying to see whether we can still engage him. Okay, even if it don't take 2 weeks, give us the attention of 1 week to commission projects, not just in the city, also in the satellite towns.
Honorable Commissioner, Honorable Minister, you came from Lombardy just a day or two, and I saw you again on screen in Gishiri very quickly, and your demeanor showed that you were not particularly happy about some of the developments over there.
Yes, you see, you know, people think that government is there for the people. Government is not there for any particular person or group of persons, but government is for the public. Abuja has been designed before now. I was not the one, but I had to follow the
NTA, you can't be Deutsch.
For the past 5 years or more, the world has started recognizing female filmmakers. Female filmmaking and filmmakers was not really a thing.
Why does this happen? This is a road corridor. In the first place, we don't need to. You are the one who has violated this. But just to give it a human face, okay, pay this money to them. And this is one of the projects that Mr. President should commission in May. So the contractors came back, CGC came back to me, said, look, they're likely not to meet up. I said, why? It's up to now. The community that I assembled, he can't say that. It's not possible. So while I was in Milan, I now called the acting executive secretary of FCD. What is going on? That project must be completed as agreed. It's the villagers are saying they would. I said, no. But you are from Abuja. One of the reasons why we left you to be there because you are indígena. He always complained of marginalization. Now the president, in his own wisdom, has brought you people in. Now you are telling me that your community, you are the one sabotaging that. And I'm not going to accept that. I said, okay, go to the district head now. Call me on phone. He went to the head there and called me, and I spoke to the district head. He said, oh, this. I said, something must be wrong with some of you. You think you can sabotage our efforts? I won't allow that. Now, I will be the one, I will come by myself. I will supervise the demolition and let heaven come down. Even though heaven will not come down. Even when heaven comes down, heaven will be at peace. So that's why I came and I went there. And the bloody district head was there as well. He says, the district, check it out. Come and demolish the place. And for the interest of the public, it's not me. We don't even need to pay. All what they do is that when they know the road is going, you see them putting on something, so they will go and get compensation. But it's okay. Nobody, we are not going there to say we are taking land to do that. A corridor of road that will bring development, and you want to sabotage it. No, we said no, we can't take it. We will not take it. And that was what happened.
So it's not the entire community that is affected?
No, it's a road corridor.
Because the pressure they created yesterday was that, okay, you are going to pay compensation, but the compensation is not enough to resettle them anyway.
See what I've told you here.
Also give them land?
Don't go there. Well, what is the compensation? What are the houses? No, what are these houses you are talking about? All these small, like this one here. Somebody wants to collect $1 million. You, look at what I'm saying, look at it. I mean, people just do things, taking government for granted. You will continue to do that. We are not taking the whole community. The road is passing this way. So those houses, or things like that, along that corridor, we have to compensate you. And you are telling me you have your shrine here, your grandfather died here. What's my business?
Your Excellency, at the heart of this controversy is the lingering issue of the failure of the federal government to settle the issues of indigents, compensation, resettlement in Abuja.
It's not correct. Now, I know you are from Abuja. Let me tell you, it's not correct. Compensations have been made several years ago. No, I can tell you that. Compensations have been made several years ago. Take for example, where I live, near Paduma, compensations have been given to them more than 20 years ago. Now, the government has not been able to move them out. Now we are asking, okay, we want to do develop this area now. They've come back. So look, they want compensation. But compensation have been paid years ago. You see, when you see, the problem we have is that government, some people don't want to say, look, this is an assignment, and I should be able to carry this assignment. Oh, people will complain. There's nothing you do that people will not complain. That land had been allocated more than 15 years ago. Now, if you want to carry out that assignment now, they will accuse us that we are doing a land agreement. But there's no way we can allow that to be there. There's no way. It's not possible. But I've given the human face to say, okay, no problem. They've eaten the money years ago. Let us do another compensation. And you are telling me you are the one to determine how much that should be paid. We are doing a road to Wasa Junction now by CGC. And one of the roads the president had to commission by this way. I went there by myself. They complained, compensation, that's okay. I called everybody. Called the Department of Resettlement and Compensation. What is the problem? They said the money is too small. How is it too small? That's okay. Double it. Pay them. And they were paid. As I speak to you now, go and see what's going on there. I'm not the one that's going to use the road alone. It's for development of the people. Why are we doing it as if you are going to pay compensation? You're also telling government to go and build houses for you. You are not taking a whole community. It's the road, a corridor. Therefore, only those houses that are affected that should be paid compensation. And you're not telling us, no, even if you give us money, go and build houses for us.
But hasn't that underpinned the need for mass housing for the poor in some parts of Abuja instead of
that's a different road together.
Yeah, but as a last
no. The point we're making, if we are coming to a community to say let the entire community relocate, then you talk about building houses for them. Not the road corridor, where 20 houses are affected and compensated all over the world. All over the world. So you cannot tell me that already the place has been designed before now. We are not the ones who did the master plan of Abuja. We are only following the master plan. Two, in doing this too, there are people who will be affected. Therefore, you also have to look at it in a way that they should also not lose out. And we're doing that. And then you're trying to sabotage us by saying, look, let us make sure that this road does not, the Road Commission is in me. I have a duty. I have a duty to carry out. And I must do that job.
I just made that suggestion.
Yes, I agree. The mass housing you are talking about.
In case you are looking in that direction.
I have told you, if
we are building houses for judges, we are building houses for... These are people who already have the means to have houses.
No, I don't agree with you. I don't. We must stop this that we are doing. Take, for example, that you are building houses for the judges, police, and the rest. Whose job are they doing? Whose function are they carrying out?
But that means to have houses.
What is the means that they have?
So where are we on the subject?
Their job. What we are trying to say, if we are relocating a community, then you have to resettle a community. If we are saying that, for example, this is a community, and government wants to build school, university here, then it calls for relocating them. You have to go and build houses for them.
Yeah, but
if we are saying road corridor that takes, take for example, 50 meters, 50 meters, for example, it does not take the entire community.
Yes.
So you have to pay compensation.
Yeah.
And some of the houses are not completely out, not part of it. But you cannot say because road is passing here, therefore the entire community should be relocated. There should be houses for them. Who does that?
Maybe you need to improve communication.
Which part of the world? Would you tell me? Those of you who say you travel, Benga, but so you don't sell wrong ideas. Tell me where.
We have listened to your explanation of the Gishiri case. We completely understand the issue now. We just made that suggestion away from issues like this.
No, it cannot be away.
Does your administration, for instance?
You are not placing in a proper perspective. If you
okay, we'll separate it.
If you say, look, where in this world that a road corridor, that the government will now relocate the entire community.
We said you are right. You are right on that.
And the traditional rulers too. I thought that the FCT administration had a very good relations with the traditional rulers.
There are some traditional rulers
they are not enjoying.
Who are also involved in politics. And I want to tell them, you can't do that with me. You can't do that with me. If you don't want to, see, we try to respect traditional institutions. Okay. But you must understand that you have a boundary, a limitation. And I will not sit here and allow you to sabotage government efforts. I will not allow that.
Okay. Honorable Minister, let me take you back to your home states. Now that you've succeeded in the Supreme Court has given its verdicts.
Who succeeded?
Well, the gladiators, one of the gladiators. So the Supreme Court, they've spoken, and a lot of people will tell you that what we need in Rivers State now is maybe a political solution to the crisis in River State. Now, the governor reached out to members of the State House of Assembly, and they didn't turn up. And the Assembly people, they're saying that, look, we weren't invited properly. In all this logjam, the local government chairman, they've been told to leave office, and the governor has reiterated that he is going to follow the verdict of the Supreme Court. He's going to adhere to it. Now, what is the bone of contention now?
First of all, let me correct an impression. When you say I succeeded, I follow the path of rule of law. I follow the path of justice. In this country, we only would like people who carry out violence. We don't like people who say, look, let the rule of law prevail. Let justice be done. When you go to court, people think you're making problem. But when you go and snap picture to say, I will destroy the other partner, and then government will respect you. People will respect you without one crisis. But people come and say, look, what you are doing is not right. Can we follow due process and do this? I cannot believe it in this country we are today. For whatever reason it is. Nigerians are talking about stressing the issue that 3 members of the House we sit and make laws for a step that we are talking about Supreme Court. Do we need to go to Supreme Court? I mean, just tell me, in a modern democracy, in the modern world we are, forget about you don't like Wike, you must not like Wike. You don't need to like him. As we are sitting here, in your own conscience, are you telling me 3 members who constitute a parliament? Hold on.
6 members.
One of
you were governor.
Yes. That's not correct. Now, please, you see, people should stop all this. Even when they say so, why not do their own researches? It's not what they say. What is their own research? Remember, assembly was inaugurated. Remember, there was tribunal. Court of Appeal nullified some seats. Court of Appeal nullified some seats. Before that time, the budget had been done. And then we did a rerun. And assembly was full. If anybody tells you that I, as governor, presented budget to the number that's not what's required by the Constitution, it's a blatant liar. Bring the prove it. It's not a question of going to Arise, which is their normal television, or going to a channel. No. Prove empirical evidence.
People are saying that you are not magnanimous in victory.
In victory.
It's like a winner takes all things.
Well, hold on.
You are grandstanding.
Hold on, winner what? See, put in the winner what? What did you win? Now let me say something. Don't distract me. Let me say something. You said the Governor Richard. You have had a frosty relationship with an arm of government. If you're a good politician, it's just that you go arrive later. Hold on. If you're a good politician, you have had a frosty relationship with me for how many years? I've never sat down with you. I've never spoken with you. You seized my salaries. You seized my allowances. Granted by law. You took it. No problem. Now you won a Court of Appeal. It didn't even occur to you. Even though I won a Court of Appeal, I still want peace. The matter went to Supreme Court. And Supreme Court now gave judgment. Then the next thing you will do, now you want to implement, who said no? Is it by writing letter? And who signed the letter? A bloody SSG. Who signed letter to a head of arm of government? What an insult is that? You are telling me here, Senate to government will sign letter to the President of Senate or to Speaker of the House of Representatives. The President is coming to President Budget. Isn't that it is done?
What should he have done?
If you're a politician, you know what to do. Look, I don't understand. Listen. First of all, assuming you want to go through that route, what is normally done? You call the leadership and say, listen, this is where we are. This is where we are. I want to present this budget back to you. They agree. Okay. Let's look at it. That will be okay for us. You are not the one to write that I'm coming to present budget tomorrow. Who does that? No, who does that? You want to play to the gallery that you wrote a letter, which is rubbish. I have been in government. I don't just write a letter to Mr. Speaker. I'm coming to present budget tomorrow morning. I think your children. Do you know their engagement? All this is done is to tell you that I'm sincere. Mr. Speaker, where are you? Are you at home? Can you come? Can I come? Can we talk? And they agree on something. And then Mr. Speaker will go back and call his colleagues. Listen, Mr. Governor called me. I met with him. He said, look, he wants to present budget so day. It's okay. Monday, Tuesday. But Speaker, you know that our schedule is so tight. Okay, no, let us accommodate. That's how things are done. All these letters you are writing is useless. You are not sincere. You are playing to the gallery. Everybody knows you are not sincere. You are playing to the gallery. A true politician will not do that way. Let me tell you, Mr. President was to present budget to the National Assembly. Assembly people were not happy for one thing or the other. We met in ESCO, and they said, oh, they've shifted it to the next so day. Why? He had to meet with leadership to agree some gray areas. He doesn't need to write letter. A man who does not want peace is a man who will play to the gallery. Writing a letter, I've written letter. Written letter to who? To your son?
Well, you make this meeting sound very, very easy. After a frosty relationship, that might not be very easy.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so now you agree with me. After a frosty relationship, he has suffered their families. They cannot pay their children's school fees. Their money they are entitled. Court gave order, you cannot stop their money. You had a penchant of disobeying court orders. This is a country where, you know, I have never, you know, we like things that somebody is doing something wrong. Instead of you to come out to say, look, what you are doing is wrong. You go and capture, oh, it is a social political opponent. What kind of rubbish is that? Must you not have opponent? In politics, must you not have opponent? Is there any law that says in politics everybody must queue behind you? So what is all this? Oh, his opponent. So what? If you give your opponent the opportunity to make you unstable, then you will be unstable. You will be. There's no law. After all, there are also people who are working against Tinubu's administration. So Tinubu cannot come and complain. My opponents are working against his opponents. Did they tell him that they will make him to be comfortable? Who does that?
Your Excellency, some people might say, you know, the frostiness is, you know, on both sides in terms of the ultimatums that were given.
Yes,
the ultimatums that were given by the Amawule's led legislators about presenting the budget, and also the issues of the commissioners that were elected without vetting from the.
Now you are taking that. But now let me tell you something. Are you not going to commend them? That they even agreed that we are ready. Can you present the budget? You are presenting to 3 people now. So the budget is there. It's not as if you are going to do it. Okay, carry it. Come on, we are ready to work with you.
But the nuance was different.
I'm coming. What?
The nuance was different. They gave them an ultimatum.
No, you see, that is the problem. Come. When you say ultimatum, I say, within 48 hours, submit your budget. What is substitution? No, I can't be ready by 48 hours. Give me 1 week. What is wrong in that? Why are we always capitalizing on things that, if you really want the peace of the state, why are you picking on things that will not help? If the legislators say, we are going on recess for the interest of the state, if you can present the budget within 48 hours, because we are living on recess, have they not done well? All you would have done as a sincere person is to say, look, no, it's too urgent for me. Can you people shift your recess? Give me 1 week. That's how people do things. You don't just come out, hey, why should I give ultimatum? Who the hell are you? No, listen. Who the hell are you? The governor is not sincere. I never knew he's this kind of character. Let me tell you, Supreme Court said that nowhere 3 members can sit and legislate for the state. You took your Attorney General, Commissioner, for these 3 members to screen. And the Supreme Court said it's not possible. And some people said, look, submit the list of members of your cabinet. We are willing to screen them. Instead of us to applaud them, you are saying, why should they give time limit? I'm traveling. I want to do it now before I travel. What's wrong in that? Now what you did to help with those a lot of people. Those are the people.
Honorable Minister,
your selfish interest.
Those are
Minister,
people actually.
Yes.
Can I finish?
Those are people who elected.
Hold on. It's not correct. Those are people who are deceiving the governor, who are collecting his money. Let me tell you, if they're intelligent, governor, they gave you 48 hours. Governor, tell them 48 hours is not enough. I need 1 week. You don't go and begin to sow seed of discord. You don't do that. As they are now, they are hot. It is in your place to say, look, I know you're hot. I'm sorry. See what has happened. Don't act as if you're a father. Now, what they did, when the assembly said, submit list, he now told his commissioners to go to court. The commissioners went to court, challenging the assembly that we cannot live as commissioners after Supreme Court has given judgment on this matter.
Is that a fact?
It's the truth. They went to State High Court. Of course, you know, the worst State High Court today we have is River State High Court.
It wasn't like that when you were there.
It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been. Look, I respect court judgments. I do. How would I look like as a life bencher? I perpetrate in disobeying court orders.
But because of your interest now,
what's my interest?
The average Riverian on the streets, they're saying that, look, because of your interest. When did you go
to the street to listen to them?
They're saying the state allocation has been seized now.
By who?
Because of your interest.
By who? Okay, hold on. By whose conduct?
The Supreme Court has ordered.
Instead of you to say, thanking us, to making sure the right thing is being done.
Are you happy?
And aren't you worried that Rivers staff will not be paid? They will not be paid salaries because of this.
Now, let me tell you something. Did you know you ought to commend us for challenging illegality? How many states can do that? How many states can tell their governor what they're doing is wrong? In our state, we said no. 3 people cannot constitute an assembly. 3 people cannot appropriate funds for you to spend. You have to commend us. You are safe, who can do it? They would have bought the assembly members. I said, no, we are not prisoners of war. Well, we are not. And that's why the assembly said, look, you can't continue to do this. Let them go and buy them. They will not agree. The right thing, hold on, the right thing must be done. And we challenge illegality. Today we are happy that Supreme Court has made a pronouncement. The Apex Court has made a pronouncement. Who is wrong? Who is right? Commend those who challenge illegality. Don't commend those who said we will do anything that's wrong.
Nobody could challenge you during your time. The state assembly
Listen,
cannot just stand up to look at you.
That is my problem with you.
During your 8 years.
Who told you? Okay, the mayor said nobody challenged me.
There's no record of that.
Hold on now.
Every speaker.
Okay, hold on. The mayor said, let me tell you. The speaker and assembly members are not their children. You must have a relationship with them. I sit with them. We eat together. We drink together. We play together. They're not your boys. They're not your girls. They were elected, as you were also elected. Some of them, it was through the election that made you to win the election. So you must not treat them as if they're my boys. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. Legislature is a different arm of government. It's not an attached to executive arm. So you must be careful. I see that I traveled my legislature. I do. As I'm traveling, as the Mr. Speaker, can I have 3, 4, 5 members to accompany me for this trip? It's a building relationship. The president travels. He said, look, call me so senator. Call me so House of Representatives. I wanted to join me in my trip. You create relationship. It's not a master-servant thing. You cannot do it. If you have been doing it before, you succeeded, does not mean today you will succeed. And the world, you see, we are moving to a world that you cannot try it. And the problem the governor has today, those around him who are milking him, they have milked the state. And governor said it yesterday. I thought he should have said on his president, the parties. that the money they have spent. No, I didn't spend that kind of money. No way. None of my lawyers told me you are going to pay this. It must have a good relationship with people. Goodwill pays a lot.
All right.
And that's what paid for us. It's because we have good relationship with our lawyers. No lawyer say you must pay this or pay. But I know what their own team spent. And they make him. They are not telling him the truth. His lawyers bungled their case. And they don't want to tell the people. Yesterday, I heard that some people want to sue Mr. President. Pandef.
Yes.
It's the worst organization anybody can rely on.
Why?
Let me tell you. I used to tell my father, I said, Dad, I go to him. I'm disappointed this. If you continue with this, I'm not going to support you. I will not be a party to it. If you have a father who is always interested in money, he can sell his child or his children. These leaders, look at the comments they have made. Mr. President intervened in this matter. Mr. President intervened. I'm not talking about Vice President. Mr. President intervened. Vice President was there. National Security Advisor was there. National Security Advisor signed for implementation of peace. This same Pandef came out and said, Mr. President has no right. They took Mr. President to court. People like Chief Saraibe, one of the worst persons you can ever think of. One of the merchants, political merchants. I knew them. Dr. Smith, whom I respected, went to government house. Look at the statement he made. I'm an Ijaw man. You're an Ijaw man. Call us. We'll be with you. An elder statesman would go and make such a statement. Now you are the same person coming again now to go and meet Mr. President to intervene. Intervene what? Mr. President that had no right? Mr. President that you took to court? That you have no power to intervene? They took Mr. President to court. From the State High Court of River State, down to the Court of Appeal, they lost. Down to Supreme Court. Now people do things, you don't want to go back to let people know the correct thing. Now Supreme Court have given judgment. Now you are going to tell President to do what? Yeah, now President should do what?
Sorry to
that Supreme Court judgment should not be obeyed.
Yeah, but the governor has said he would obey the judgment, and there are calls for his impeachment. Would you support the impeachment of Governor Simfubara?
Excuse me. Who called for impeachment? We said they have called. Who called?
People who are seem to be loyal to you are saying that they are going for the jugular.
I didn't know you have record of people who are loyal to me. I didn't know your business is to sit down, write names of people who are loyal to me.
But will you support an impeachment?
If you have committed an offense to be impeached, what is wrong? Is it a criminal offense? It's provided in the Constitution.
You can't just wait till 2027 to vote him out.
Am I a member of the Assembly? The point I'm making, if you have committed an infraction of the Constitution and the Assembly deems it fit to say you should be impeached, let me tell you, politics is not played just like this. Is it the first person that people have threatened about impeachment? Don't you know what to do? What is all these who are value that they will impeach? And let me tell you, and I have heard people say, oh, if they impeach him, there will be breakdown of law and order. Rubbish. Hold on. Rubbish. Nonsense. Which is nonsense.
Militants. Ethnic coloration.
Rubbish. Tell me who are the militants? Who is not a militant? Who is born as a militant? No, tell me the person that's born. The day you were giving birth, they say you're a militant. Who is not a militant? Who cannot blow at the pipeline? Why do you arrogate this power to a certain group of people? Ijaw people are the only people who can blow pipeline. What nonsense is that? Who told the Ogoni people cannot blow pipeline? Who told the Kwele people cannot blow pipeline? Who told the Ekpa people cannot blow pipeline? Why do we arrogate powers to people? There's nothing like that. Two, who is the one doing the contract of the pipeline? Who is the one doing